Chapter 535. Strongest Labor. Chapter 535. Strongest Labor. Demon Scheming Sect's cemetery housed the previous generations of sect leaders, venerables and elders. The immense power they wielded in life became poison after death, filling the cemetery in a dark energy and gave off a haunting feeling. The weak coming here would find this e'en rotting their meridians, while longer exposure would lead to damage to their core, crippling them. For that reason, the laborers assigned cleaning duty here would always come under a clear sky and in the afternoon, with the sun's yang protecting them from the cemeteries. E'en spending the night would be the last thing on their minds. With such a thick e'en in darkness, once it got into their body, it was nigh impossible to remove it. Even a strong yuan qi didn't offer great protection. Everyone would suffer the same fate here. Be that as it may, on that night with the moon shining overhead, there was one black-robed person sitting in the center of the cemetery, unaffected by the eerie wind blowing by, the black energy curling thicker and thicker around him, sucked in the instant it got too close. All this while, an azure flame burned on his forehead. No one but Zhuofan would be caught cultivating here. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang dumped him here as a punishment, not as a death sentence. At least not before they did a background check. With Zhuofan's profound heaven cultivation, this place wouldn't take his life, but would exhaust all his energy, making for a very good punishment. How would they know that Zhuofan was a freak everywhere he went? The e'en here was deadly to all but him. Another man's treasure, and all that with demon transformation art sucking up anything and everything. He'd be dumb to miss the chance of sucking generations upon generations of demon scheming sects powerhouses e'en energy. So while this cultivation method worked on his body, the azure flame tended to his soul, and within 3 days Zhuofan's cultivation was soaring. On the brink of a breakthrough, he was ecstatic. This place was a funeral for the rest, yet heaven for him. It was so good that he didn't feel like leaving even when the month turned whoosh. 2 sounds entered his ears. The azure flame was gone, and the black energy went back inside him as he sighed, annoyed. Those schmucks just can't see me happy, huh? They have me sweeping this place, and have now sent a foreman to watch me? Now I can't even cultivate in peace. Zhuofan stood up, took his broom and went to work on the leaves and pebbles on the floor. Pure pretense, of course. He didn't want to give the fools an excuse to annoy him further. Since you've got a foreman on me, then watch closely. Rustle. Zhuofan looked like an honest worker for a change, sweeping the place. Just then Kuei Lang and Yu Ling, bent on murder, sprung at him. Zhuofan asked with a frown, "What's wrong with you? Can't you see I'm working here? Why are you looking at me like that? You have the nerve to ask that now? Are you that blind to even your own immoral actions?" Yu Ling snarled. Kuei Lang shouted, "Zhuofan, if you have anything against us, take it out on us, but don't be so twisted as to lay your hands on children, to ruin their lives." Zhuofan got the gist of what was going on inside. "I see, so it happened. Humph, see Yu Ling, he knows everything. He must have done it." Kuei Lang was sure of it now, hearing his reply. Yu Ling could hardly contain her rage. Zhuofan's face hardened, having lost his jovial mood. "I warned you not to force things, but did you listen? Now those juniors are crippled. You're full of it. You're trying to act like a saint when you are the one who hurt my sister. And now you'll preach from your moral high ground? I will have your head." Yu Ling struck, but Zhuofan casually blocked it. Zhuofan's voice was chilling to the bone. "I have no grudge with you and want no conflict. But if you insist, then it'll be your funeral. Cheeky, aren't you? But what can a wastrel do with a 7th layer of profound heaven cultivation entering the sect thanks to his daddy against the likes of us? Don't you know the difference between radiant stage and profound heaven stage? We can kill you with a thought." Kuei Lang mocked. Zhuofan shook his head, his eyes a sucking abyss. "More than you know. But I am not your average cultivator and advise you against starting something you can't finish. You don't make the cut." "Insolent little bastard!" The 2 shouted. Yu Ling turned to Kuei Lang. "He has a soul demonic treasure, so soul attacks won't work. That must be his crutch. Let's do it together and offer his head to Yuer and Ganger." We'll just face it if those behind him come for revenge. But don't go too fast, let's take his life at the same time, alright? I want revenge for my son. Right back at you. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang nodded and went on the offensive in their minds. Killing a profound heaven cultivator was nothing. The crux was who did it first. The two wanted to kill Zhuofan so badly that they agreed to do it at the same time, to quench their hatred, but Zhuofan just stood there, as if just waiting to take the punishment. He was in fact. That ripple had the two shudder on the inside, a Radiant Stage's soul attack. The two replied with their own soul attack spam. That clash had them falter back 5 steps, gone was their contempt and rage, replaced by shock. Impossible! Zhuofan stood in his spot with a broom in hand, bearing a sneer. Now do you get it? You didn't affect me in the Azura Circle, not because of some soul demonic treasure, but by me having a stronger soul than both of you combined. The two squinted, finding it hard to believe that this was real. A profound heaven expert's soul being stronger than 2 Radiant Stage experts? And he can even release it in attacks? That's clearly in the realm of Radiant Stage, so why? Leave, stop wasting my time. You're not my match. Zhuofan dissed them casually. The two's faces changed, no longer seeing him as just a nobody, but one equal to them. Not that that would change anything with the likes of Zhuofan and his freaky strength. Yu Ling took a deep breath and turned to Kuei Lang. His soul is at peak Radiant Stage. Forget about him being in the profound heaven stage, and treat him like a Radiant Stage expert. Let's go all out and kill him in one blow. All right. Kuei Lang agreed. Nobody would do this normally, but they were out for blood and wouldn't go back empty-handed, even if it meant going down with him. Pa. The two shot towards Zhuofan from left and right. They flitted across with great ease and reappeared in Zhuofan's face with palm attacks. Profound ranked martial art, moon palm. Crack. Dark blue ice covered Yu Ling's palm, making Zhuofan feel the coldness before it even reached him. Profound ranked martial art, wind wolf rake. Kuei Lang shouted afterwards. With a beast howl, his claw sent thousands of wind blades, wanting to make mincemeat out of Zhuofan. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang showed a cruel smile at what was about to happen, yet Zhuofan was nonplussed. Bored, he held the broom, and as his right arm flashed red, he swept whoosh. A tornado rose to the heavens, cutting away Kuei Lang's wind blades to nothing, while the broom landed on his chest and sent him flying on his way down to earth. He left a trail of blood sweeping Kuei Lang away. Meant it was Yu Ling's turn. Her ice formed and was about to strike when it got smashed to pieces by that swipe, while she was flicked away the same way that huge force shot into her body and made her spurt blood. The two slammed the ground, too weak to even move, while Zhuofan held the broom at the same spot with a dull look. Like nothing had actually happened, but the two were shell-shocked at his might. He's in the profound heaven stage yet is so powerful? It went on to show that a dragon was a dragon even down on his dump. Just a wave of a broom had these two bosses of the labor office flying. Chapter 536, Expose. Chapter 536, Expose. Zhuofan, are you Aurigdash? Elder Yuan and a few laborers were shouting on their way here, but the scene they saw had their brains on the fritz. Zhuofan was the perfect embodiment of a laborer, with that broom on his shoulder and those plain clothes, but that cocky look left no room for discussions. Just like a god, while Yu Ling and Kuei Lang watched him, stunned and bleeding from the mouth, collapsed on the ground in fear. It took just one strike to counter their all-out attacks and leave them with a heavy wound. Who the hell is he? Elder Yuan made his way there and was watching the play with bugged-out eyes. What happened here? Why isn't he dead yet and the others are on the ground instead? Zhuofan glanced over. Elder Yuan, what are you doing here? I wanted to urge them not to do this. By time for someone to call the 4 venerables to help you. But there's no point now. Elder Yuan was puzzled. Zhuofan nodded. Ha. Thank you, Elder Yuan, for your concern, but there's no need for that. They don't have what it takes to hurt me. Take them away. I will be staying for a while longer. We'll debate on the topic of demons and Tao at the first chance I get. Oh, Elder Yuan nodded absent-mindedly. Not knowing the situation did not mean not understanding the outcome. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling had no way of taking Zhuofan's life, and knowing that, he rested easier, so he called the other disciples to pick up the two, and left the laborers click their tongues seeing their two big shots, so wretched and unable to even move. That's why Elder Yuan keeps saying Zhuofan is special. Today proves it. His hidden bodyguard is so tough to deal with these two so quickly. It only worked to assert his status as a wastrel, since not even the sect leader messed with him. Having bodyguards was just a perk of the job. Never in their wildest dreams would they conceive it possible for Zhuofan to be the one behind Kuei Lang, and Yu Ling states. He was just a profound heaven cultivator. That meant his old man's subjects had to have done it, yet only the two victims knew the reality, that this creature had the godlike power to crush all the sect's disciples. Never had they met such a freak in their lives, yet they had the worst luck ever to make an enemy of the only one they shouldn't on their first meeting too. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang looked each other in the eye, reflecting the endless remorse inside. They were ready to die together, for their baby sister and son, but their target of revenge was beyond their comprehension. The two were depressed, wanting to rave at the injustice but couldn't budge an inch. Zhuofan showed them just how puny and weak they were. Zhuofan, you may be stronger, but I will never forget this hatred. One day I will have you answer for what you did to Yuer. She roared at the heavens. The hateful proclamation had the disciples carrying her shudder in fear, almost dropping her and making a run for it. Kuei Lang glared at Zhuofan with fury. Just because they were weaker didn't mean they'd just drop it. Sighing, Zhuofan mocked. Get this through your thick skulls, I am no saint, but at least I'm open about it. Me, you and those kids have no bad blood to warrant using dirty tricks. Most of all, I only need to squash you to kill you. Why waste so much time with an over-elaborate plan? Is there anyone else but you? Didn't you warn them of this outcome? You couldn't have known the result unless you planned it yourself. Kuei Lang half believed Zhuofan at this point, since he made damn good sense. With his strong arm, why waste time? No hidden assaults, no smoke and mirrors, just a simple strike and they'd be dead. Zhuofan's strength was his greatest proof of innocence, but Zhuofan must have known the real situation, and Kuei Lang wanted to find out the truth. I can't just get beaten for nothing without even finding out about my son's culprit. Zhuofan smiled, having him all figured out. Ask Humair for that. Hasn't she always helped the two scamps? What? The two found it hard to believe. Their trust in Humair had never faltered, and they never would have come to this conclusion by themselves. You're throwing blame. Mayor couldn't have done this. What proof do you have? No matter how much Kuei Lang was against it, he still asked Zhuofan for proof. Yet Zhuofan turned his back on him. Not my problem. Figure it out yourselves. But the next time you come at me, you better be damn sure or my subordinates will end you where you stand. Zhuofan flew away, back to the cemetery, leaving the two lost sheep behind. Kuei Lang, do you believe him? Yu Ling faltered. Zhuofan's accusation would mean their dear Humair was out to get them all along. Nobody could just accept it, since in a demonic sect, a friend was a rarity, and to find that same friend had now turned into an enemy would be a crushing blow. Kuei Lang furrowed his brows and closed his eyes. I don't know. But he is right about one thing. He doesn't need petty tricks to handle us. That means he might just be right. Yu Ling was shaken to the core, her mind replaying everything that had happened in the sect, and she paled. I should have known there's no one in the demon-scheming sect worthy of trust. Kuei Lang's silence echoed her thoughts. Elder Yuan ran before them, providing them with a pill. Thank God you're all right. These are mere third-grade pills, but should be enough help to get you moving again. Old Yuan, I never knew that you were so nice. Kuei Lang smiled. You could have spurred Zhuofan to kill us and have the labor office all to yourself. Ha ha ha, I'm just a bone-tempering old bag of bones. Besides, we all meet our end at some point. It's up to fate. Life and death is part of the natural order, the cycle of every living thing. Many disciples treat Azura Circle as their fate as materials, but their death gives life to others. It's survival of the fittest. However cruel, it has a purpose. It would be too much of a pity for you two to die now. Oh, old Yuan, no matter how much sense that makes, I just can't figure out what you're saying, just like Shuofan. Can't you be simpler? Kuei Lang squinted his dull eyes. Elder Yuan waved him off. Sir Kuei Lang, just tend to your wounds. I was only grumbling about finding time to talk it out with Shuofan. Oh right. I can't see why Shuofan would get so close to a bone-tempering old man with his strength. It must be these incomprehensible topics, having found someone to talk to. Kuei Lang nodded. Elder Yuan smiled. Yeah, we both wish to understand the nature of this world. Elder Yuan had a disciple take them back to labor office, but by then they could move. Shuofan had obviously gone easy on them. They were going to see Yue and Kuei Gang in the room Elder Yuan had arranged for them when a very familiar person approached the two. Eyed her with suspicion. Junior sister Mare. Kuei Lang spoke openly. She was caressing Yue's head and turned to them. Senior brother Kuei Lang, junior sister Yu Ling, what happened? Yue and Ganger are so hurt, yet you went out for a walk? What fortune that I was here to keep them company. Hi. Humair's bright giggle sounded like cawing to their ears. It opened them up to how devious she was. Shuofan was right. She led them by the nose all along. They didn't need proof to see it. What friend out there would be gloating over their misfortune? Humair! Yu Ling roared inside, and her eyes burned with the flames of revenge. Chapter 537, Course of Event. Chapter 537, Course of Event. Humair, they suffered backlash in the competition. Did you do this? Yu Ling squinted at her, sneering. Humair declared, How can you say that, junior sister? I have done everything I could to get these poor children to pass the outer sect promotion. With them training themselves into such a state, aren't you afraid I will become colder if you pin the blame on me? Yu Ling had no proof, and words left her even as she tried to cuss. Kuei Lang eyed Humair coldly. Enough of your pretense. We don't know how you did it, but we are clear that you're the culprit behind it. You should be frank right about now and not play pretend. Hi. Senior brother Kuei Lang is as blunt as always, so I shall oblige. Yes, I planned everything. She grinned, and not just this, but everything since the beginning. The two spoke at the same time. Everything? Why, did you forget already how you got thrown into the labor office? Blinking her pretty big eyes, Humair mocked. Hi. You sure have a nice life here to ignore the outside world. Speak clearly. Kuei Lang almost burst from the anger. Yu Ling stared daggers at her. Humair jeered. When big brother Kuei Lang had an affair outside the sect, resulting in a son, I reported it to the elders. That's what got you booted into the labor office. As for Ganger, he only escaped execution because of your master being a venerable with plenty of pull. Kudos. Hi. It was you. Kuei Lang balled his fists, his thirst for blood rising. Humair snickered, turning to her next victim. Junior sister, do you remember that 5th grade pill? I was kind enough to give you the tip about it so you could steal it and improve Yuer's constitution. And you lived up to my expectations by going with it. I just had to report you. It was you. Yu Ling shuddered with bloodthirst. Our pains these past decades were all because of you. Why? What did we do to you? I brought you into the sect myself, so why are you so cruel? Kuei Lang was fighting against the rage, his voice shaky. Humair sneered. Of course I had motive, ample in fact. I wouldn't just go about stabbing my friends in the back over nothing. Humair's icy eyes landed on Kuei Lang. Big brother Kuei Lang, I've always respected you since you brought me here, but you shouldn't have pulled your pants and denied me that night. Even daring to call it the sex rule, allowing dual cultivation but forbidding love. You think I'll freaking believe that crap after you went fooling around, and even had a child? Try calling that dual cultivation. Kuei Lang felt awkward under her stare and sighed, just over this trifle. Shut it, of course that's not all. Humair turned to Yu Ling with a creepy smile. What mattered the most was the elite disciples quota. Senior brother Kuei Lang and junior sister Yu Ling were both prominent inner sect disciples and wouldn't refuse going higher, and with the positions being so limited. Shit, that's your real motive, you viper. Kuei Lang's earlier guilt got squashed by anger the instant he heard her. This wretched Humair didn't do it for revenge, but for selfish gains. Curses, being a player will only get you killed. I thought I got what I deserved for being frivolous. Damn, I felt ashamed for nothing. Yuer glared at Humair. I get that you schemed against us for the elite spots, but why go after Yuer? They're just children. With the elite selection about to start, them just entering the inner sect will be of no threat to you. Weeds need to be culled from the roots, lest they grow unchecked. Humair snickered, as your kin, once the brats found out about my involvement in your punishments, they'll hate me to the bone. So rather than wait for them to come for me, I did a preemptive strike, crippling them. A shame that the sect's rules protect disciples with potential. An inner disciple can't touch the outer ones, unless the latter initiates it. What other choice was there besides plotting their demise at their own hands? I overheard that the sect leader brought in a new disciple, so I got the girl to test him. Getting him to kill her wasn't such a bad outcome, but that Zhuofan is such a loser, getting hurt instead and ending up in the labor office. Humph, had no choice but to resort to schemes. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were sweating buckets. If Zhuofan was a loser, then the entire demon scheming sect was hopeless. But since Humair was in the dark about Zhuofan's might, they kept it that way. But Humair's vile schemes against these two couldn't be left alone. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang nodded and went for an attack. As third and fourth layer of Radiant stage experts, even when wounded, they were a force to reckon with. Both of them were enough to make the third layer of Radiant stage. Humair gasped in fear. Humair, we'll kill you even if it's the last thing we do. The two cried. Humair faltered 5 steps at the sheer killing intent, using all her yuan qi to defend. The following explosion did not happen between them, but on the labor office's wall as a blue figure shot in front of Humair and forced the two to retreat with his palm attacks. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling withdrew 10 steps while the other person only 3. The two cried out on seeing the newcomer, second senior brother Lu Su. Ha ha ha, juniors are so strong even after so many years in the labor office. Not even with the 5th layer of Radiant stage cultivation can I hold you back. Lu Su cupped his hands. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were filled with bloodthirst. Lu Su, you're to blame as well. Kuei Lang roared. Lu Su smiled. Juniors, how can you say that? I don't understand a word you're saying. But if you want to harm junior sister Mayor, you'll have to go through me first. Lu Su took Humair's hand and flew away. Junior sister Mayor, come. Let's not waste time on them. Not if I can help it. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were in pursuit, but the sudden arrival of 4 trails of smoke had them surrounded as they gave off the typical creepy jeer with the rattling of chains. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling found themselves tied up, waiting for the smoke to clear and reveal the 4 scheming demons. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling found themselves unable to break out of the black chain. Hi, you shall never escape the demonic cultivator hero quartet, the heroic 4, the 4 scheming demons. Sly Demon cackled. Violent Demon was mighty proud, speaking in a savage tone. I just got word that someone in the labor office is itching to die by touching our steward Zhuo. Roaming around, we found you two to fit the bill. Talk, were you going after Steward Zhuo? Steward Zhuo? Who's that? We don't have any steward here. Kuei Lang asked, puzzled. And who are you for? What are you doing in the labor office? The 4 scheming demons had just returned to the sect, and many didn't know them, but on hearing his words, the 4 scheming demons turned cold and their ill will at them only grew. For God's sake, our names are glorious, the entire sect echoing the demonic cultivator hero quartet. Yet you dare say you don't know us? Just for that, you deserve the most excruciating death. Violent Demon grinned, showing his pearly whites. Chapter 538. The Last Hope. Chapter 538. The Last Hope. Brothers, let's tear these ignorant fools in 4. Violent Demon squeaked, pulling the chain, and the two could move. Violent Demon's claws clutched Kuei Lang's neck before he could flee, holding him up in the air. His brothers each grabbed a limb as they snickered. The four's eerie laughter echoed around as Kuei Lang felt himself getting pulled in four directions and howled. Yu Ling panicked. The four pygmies' dreadful aura was keeping her away, and she was unable to help. Yu Ling paled, hearing their cawing that filled her with fear. Who are they? I get that they're strong, but why come for us? What rotten luck they had. First was the misunderstanding with Shuofan, almost getting plastered to the ground with his godlike power, then finding out their good friend had been toying with them for years, and just as they were about to exact revenge, these four crazy pygmies showed up, making them unable to do anything against them. Yu Ling was wrought with sorrow, remorse and shock. On the verge of crying, Kuei Lang howled with pain, his face red and soaked as his limbs inched further away from their sockets. The four scheming demons cackled all this while, messing around like it was some roughhousing, the usual. Then 1, 2, 3, pull. Stop! Kuei Lang's limbs were at their limit when Elder Yuan came over shouting and begging, "Executive Sirs, please let him go. He did not know of Sir's status and offended you. Please show remorse." Violent Demon snorted. That doesn't matter, but they also dared to not know our illustrious title. Brothers, pull. Wait, wait, wait. Elder Yuan waved his arms all over the place. You can't kill them, because they're Steward Zhuo's friends. A what? The pygmies stopped at once, and so did Kuei Lang's wails. Looking at Kuei Lang, who they were just tearing into, the four broke out in sweat. Then they let him go, placed him on the ground, and started rubbing his shoulders. Violent Demon even shed his usual violent face for a more amiable smile. Hee, an honest mistake here, friend of Steward Zhuo. Don't mind it now, and never ever tell Steward Zhuo about it. You don't want us to suffer, do you? Violent Demon spoke in the most cringy and heartfelt tone, and his brothers echoed him. This scene left the rest dumbstruck. The hell is wrong with these weirdos? They were just tearing me off a second ago, and now they are so respectful? Elder Yuan was taken aback as well. He had thrown Zhuofan's name in for scare tactics, but it had worked a bit too well. The instant the four heard his name, they became meek as lambs. Just what strength must he have to get these four shits to fall in line? Elder Yuan's eyes glinted. Oh wait. With Steward Zhuo's temper, he doesn't make friends easily. When we met, he skipped the small talk and went tough on us right off the bat. Either obey or die. What friends? Sly Demon asked. His brothers frowned and asked, Are you really Steward Zhuo's friends? Kuei Lang and Yu Ling bobbed their heads. Though clueless as to who this Steward Zhuo was, not admitting would be relinquishing their lives. These freaks were outrageous in strength and character, more like lunatics. Violent Demon frowned and pondered. Being around Zhuofan for so long, this bonehead had learned to use his noodle somewhat. Old Yuan, you had someone tell us that Steward Zhuo is in trouble, so we came and only saw these two radiant stage disciples. So we took them as being ignorant for offending his grace. But since they're Steward Zhuo's pals, then who are the culprits after Steward Zhuo? The Violent Demon questioned Elder Yuan. Elder Yuan gasped, Crap, when did these shits learn to think? They've become new men ever since they've returned. But this only makes Shuofan, the one to change them, even more invaluable. Elder Yuan praised him on the inside while smiling. Executives, the ones after Steward Zhuo just flew away. These two were chasing after them, but you stopped them. Didn't you see? The four recalled the earlier scene and did see two people flying away. But since they were too far, they stopped the two giving chase. We stopped the friendlies. The four blushed, scratching their heads with a silly smile. Sorry, didn't know we're on the same side looking out for Steward Zhuo. Please don't tell him. Violent Demon pleaded while Sly Demon said in doubt, But who are those two to come find trouble for Steward Zhuo? We must take them out at once. The other three nodded. Yu Ling's eyes brightened and Kuei Lang caught on her idea. These four were deranged and unknown, but they were tough and gullible. Why not use them to get rid of Hu Meier and Lu Su? Elder Yuan jumped in before it got out of hand. Seeing their intentions, Executives, they are inner disciples, but you can't touch them because of the sect rules. And if Steward Zhua wanted their lives, how could they have escaped? It's better to not interfere and mess with Steward Zhua's plans. The four lit up and nodded. Old Yuan Kuei Lang glared at him, then sighed. Elder Yuan had just saved their lives and now ruined their chances at revenge. Yu Ling looked at him puzzled. Elder Yuan said simply, Executive Sir's methods are cruel, but those are born out of circumstances, while they are but simple and honest men. Having just been pardoned, they've returned to the sect, loyal and brave, but also strong. They won't involve themselves in the sect's politics and die because of it. But now that I've said that, your revenge won't work, so you better look after those juniors instead, Old Yuan, that much I understand. Ganger Kuei Lang made big eyes when he wanted to fight Hu Mei to the death. He forgot all about his son on his deathbed. He had to use this life to care for his son. Kuei Lang rushed back to the room. Yu Ling gave a look of gratitude to Elder Yuan and followed him. The four scheming demons followed as well, intrigued, while Elder Yuan just watched them with a chuckle. Returning to the ruined cabin, Kuei Lang saw his son on his last breath and unconscious. His heart was in pain and tears fell where cursed her sister's wan face, her eyes closed in pain. Oh, they looked positively dying. Sly Demon quipped, then Wimp Demon followed with, Didn't they take their pills? Should we give them? Thank you, executives, but their meridians are crushed and not even a 7th grade pill can. Kuei Lang choked with emotions. Yu Ling wiped her tears in silence, but the four scheming demons were indifferent. Violent Demon had an odd look. What's the use of crying? It's only some broken meridians, nothing Steward Zhua can't heal. Aren't you friends? Steward Zhua is very generous with his pals. As Steward Zhua, the two stopped their sobbing and hope lit up in their eyes. No matter who this Steward Zhua was, he was their last hope. Chapter 539, Pleading. Chapter 539, Pleading. Can Steward Zhua really save them? Kuei Lang hesitated. Yu Ling stared at the four with the same pleading look. The four laughed, with Violent Demon sticking out his chest, declaring, Clearly you haven't been around Steward Zhua for long, or you'd know. Let us tell you, having worked with him for years, nothing's impossible for him. Yep, Oldly got crippled too after his fight to the death, but with Steward Zhua's whammy, he was up on his feet in no time. He even entered the ethereal stage. Wimp Demon bobbed his head. Scrooge Demon frowned, shaking his head. I heard that in Tianyu's last war, those old coots got plenty of rewards for their efforts, unlike us, who got called back to the sect and missed out on the fun. Even the power couple have become ethereal. What rotten luck. Why do we always miss out on the good stuff? The four lamented their wretched fate. Kuei Lang was still skeptical at all this grandstanding, but one thing was for sure, Steward Zhua was amazing. The future of these children was in his hands. But where is Steward Zhua now? Kuei Lang bowed in front of the four. The four scheming demons found it fishy, questioning back, Aren't you his friends? How do you not know where he is? Panicking, the two were tongue-tied, admitting they had no clue about any steward was something that would have these madmen go back to tearing them apart under the four's glares. The two sighed, We'd rather die than say it. An awkward mood set in, with Kuei Lang and Yu Ling bumbling and the four scheming demons eyeing them skeptically. An aged laughter broke the tension. Executives, Zhuafan is not a steward here, so they don't know about his previous status. The four scheming demons nodded, appeased with that answer, while Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were overwhelmed. The great Steward Zhua these four have been raving about is Zhuafan? They turned their shocked looks at Elder Yuan. Elder Yuan chuckled. Now you know. The only hope for these brats is Zhuafan. It's a shame that you've offended him, and it's hard to tell if he'll even listen to your pleas. You offended Steward Zhua. Violent Demon saw their tense faces and kicked them while down. Ha ha ha, you're screwed. Steward Zhua's temper is the worst, petty about everything. Messing with him will ruin you even if you're friends. You're better off burying these kids than to waste your breath. His brothers cackled along, dancing in joy. Like their biggest wish was to see others suffer. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling felt worse as the four kept jeering they had brought it on themselves by always looking to poke Zhuofan. They were the farthest thing from friends, why would he ever help them? The two sighed in regret, for not treating him better then. Yu Ling perked up and said, "Odish Elder Yuan, weren't you and Zhuofan always on good terms? Please plead our case and ask this god for help. We are powerless." Kuei Lang looked at Elder Yuan with a hopeful gaze, and so it came to be that this in-name leader of the labor office became the target of these two bosses' ass-kissing. You two are usually so high and mighty, not caring about anyone else. Now, at the last minute you've come to little old me. Zhuofan might have entered the lowest rung, but he has 4 loyal servants. You should have thought it through from the start. Elder Yuan berated them, and the two took it like it was natural, bobbing their heads. We'll take your lesson to heart, Elder Yuan. We will change our ways. They had an odd feeling all of a sudden. Flattering this obscure old man made him look tall and imposing, making them submit to his words. Then I shall help you. His answer will depend solely on your attitude. Elder Yuan waved. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were gratified, forgetting the fact that they were bosses of the labor office, and so, the two of them and Elder Yuan went back to the cemetery again, while the 4 scheming demons ended up babysitting the bedridden children at the ingenious words of Elder Yuan. Why? Because he dangled Zhuofan over their heads. An hour later, the trio entered the creepy cemetery and saw Zhuofan on a rock, covered in black energy. Zhuofan drew it back with a sneer. Not even a day has passed and you're already back. What, you're already healed and are itching for a fight. But this time it will have a different ending. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling reddened, falling to their knees and slamming their heads on the pavement. Forgive our excessive ignorance all this time. We beg Steward Zhua to let go of the past and save the children's lives. No. Zhuofan's curt reply came and he swished his head away. The two were bitter, casting their desperate eyes on their last hope. Elder Yuan caught onto their obvious begging and said, Sir Zhua, the children's lives are at risk, their future about to cut short. Why wouldn't you save them? Not my problem. Zhuofan's stance was like a rock. Elder Yuan showed a wide smile. Will Sir do it for me? Elder Yuan is a friend expanding on the world's nature. But no matter what, that is a mere debate, not a favor. I will still have to refuse. Zhuofan's eyes held no pity. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling panicked. Elder Yuan muttered, Then, Sir Zhua, would you save me if it was me on the deathbed instead? Without Elder Yuan, I would have no one to talk to about Dao. Zhuofan blurted. Elder Yuan nodded. Then may I exchange my life for one of the children? Exchange. Zhuofan turned around. Elder Yuan, how is it equal? It's not. Elder Yuan took on the look of a sage. Heaven treats everyone with equal cruelty. For the strong, life is but a statistic. As long as this number is stable, life thrives. I will die for their life, or they will live for my death. No one will care when it's the same result. Demons are the source of all evil, they represent destruction of everything we know. But from the ashes, new life emerges. Demons have their own path. All the death they spread brings life. It is all in accordance to the natural way. Now, I give my old bones for the young one's future. Zhuofan stared hard and muttered, The demonic path represents destruction and bears life. This cruel world that the demons are ruining, they are in fact nurturing life, carrying all the sins and turning demonic. Zhuofan smiled, Death for life and destruction for the world's sake. Elder Yuan, you have helped me, so I shall help. You don't have to give your own life. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were overjoyed. Elder Yuan laughed. Sir Zhua, will you help one or both? After saving one, I reckon Elder Yuan will want to give his life for the other. So I'll just save them both. Zhuofan grinned. The two were exuberant, their smiles growing all the way to the ears. Elder Yuan laughed and nodded. He's so smart, able to understand it on the spot. Meanwhile, Lu Su stood on a precipice, watching white-bearded elders fly by with a sour mood. Mayor came over, annoyed. Curses, the elders are finally on patrol, and all we needed was for those two to waltz in and we would have finished them. Attacking an inner disciple is a death sentence. But those rotten lunatics butted in. What a waste. Their punishment is about to end, and if we are too late, they will make a comeback. It will be a threat to us and to securing the elite spots. Lu Su squinted. Mayor nodded, her eyes glinting with cruelty. Second senior brother, we haven't even looked into Zhuofan's background. I wonder which elder or venerable's ward is he. Maybe. Test the waters by framing him. Lu Su cut her off with a devious grin. Chapter 540, Making a Move. Chapter 540, Making a Move. This way, Steward Zhua. Kuei Lang acted as the guide, devoid of his bossy air, and more like a fawning servant. Who was the target? Zhuofan and Elder Yuan. The laborers were all bug-eyed, hardly believing their own eyes. Since when did Kuei Lang fall in line? And look at Yu Ling, so reserved. Did Wastrel Zhuofan's bodyguards smack some sense and fear into them? The rumor mill was running non-stop, but Kuei Lang and Yu Ling never gave a damn, their humble smiles not even twitching. With Zhuofan being their last hope, they had to measure their words before opening their mouth. As for things like honor and dignity, how was that any better than saving the lives of their kin? Besides, Zhuofan's strong arm had them completely defeated. They were even content to be under such an almighty boss. Their procession arrived at the cabin and Zhuofan noticed the glaring hole in the wall with a raised eyebrow. I've been gone for just a few days, yet the place is already falling apart. Quite nice of you, Kuei Lang and Yu Ling, having your bedridden sister and son taken to this dump, while leaving the intact homes for the others. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhua, this is just ha 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 causing trouble. Kuei Lang shook his head at the reminder. Zhuofan frowned and thought the gang went in and were welcomed by ceaseless cawing grating their ears. Zhuofan could hear those four shits' voices from a mile away. Bro, I bet he wakes up in a month and the gal in half more than that. Sly Demon declared. Wimp Demon shook his head. No, it's the other way around. Look at their wounds, there's no way they'll wake anytime soon. Let's bet on it over a 5th grade pill. Old Third said it would be in a month and Old Fourth said after a month. Old Second, what do you say? Violent Demon looked at Scrooge Demon holding the bet. Scrooge Demon grumbled. Can I not join? I don't want to lose. Don't bet and everything you own will be mine. Violent Demon was irate. Scrooge Demon whined some more and then took out a vial. This is my share from the alchemy office this month, a 3rd grade pill. Here, Old Third. 3rd grade? You've got some nerve taking that out. The blind is 5th grade, so cough it up. Don't make me search you, Violent Demon howled. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling's mood hit rock bottom, their faces twitching. These mother-fluffing bastards are betting on the lives of our kin? They'd have attacked by now. A shame they were so weak. Ahem. Zhuofan drew the four's attention. 4 scheming demons, had enough fun. The 4 shivered and cried out in unison with cupped hands, Steward Zhua. With utmost respect and reverence, Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were stunned. These strong and unruly 4 simply got down on their knees, not caring for their dignity. It only worked to make their respect for Zhuofan grow. No wonder Elder Yuan said we're bossy. Zhuofan is far better than us. Steward Zhua, you've come to save him? Violent Demon grinned. Sir, we'll have to work for it based on their sorry states. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were tense. Zhuofan smiled. I anticipated this outcome, and came knowing I can save them. Zhuofan went to Yuer first. He checked her pulse and scanned her with Yuan Qi before saying, Yuer's training in demon-devouring saber was without any issues until 2 months ago. After hurting her arm, she still trained hard, leading to her collapse and meridians being broken. The instant I saw her unhealed hand, I knew someone was messing around. Not only were the healing pills tampered with, but even pushing her to train while wounded all the way to the outer sect promotion, where the savage energy in her lashed out. The instant I saw Hu Mei's supervising her training and using sisterhood as a guilt trip, I thought of giving you a reminder, but you never listened. Yu Ling blushed with shame. She was filled with regret for not heeding Zhuofan's advice. Then again, Zhuofan always spoke stuff they barely understood. Not that she could complain when the guy was there saving her baby sister. Zhuofan turned to Kuei Gang. He trains in the blood annihilation, similar to a cultivation method I use, Wraith Art. It has strict requirements when it comes to the user's body strength. In short, one be beginner in 3 to 5 years and proficient in 8 to 10 years of training. Yet when I asked him how many years he had trained, he said it was only half a year. I knew then and there this day would come, and when I touched his arm, it was only to check his situation. His blood vessels are damaged and he even went beyond his body's limit by using a pill. That's being suicidal. It was Hu Mei's scheme that lured him to such an outcome, but I did warn you. Sigh. Kuei Lang lowered his head in shame and remorse. He just had to listen to Zhuofan, and this would never have happened while Zhuofan was showing off, taking the two snobs down a peg. A casual voice came, "Oh, Steward Zhuor, you knew everything, so why didn't you say anything?" Wimp Demon had a straight face as he ignorantly exposed Zhuofan's machinations. A friend in need is a friend indeed, all right? How would they worship me as a savior if I told them everything? Zhuofan blathered at Wimp Demon, "So what if I didn't?" Everyone sported dark faces and shook their heads. Steward Zhuo is so wild. Not like they knew his mind. Zhuofan had thought long and hard whether to save the 2 ages ago. Xie Weiyue wanted him to gain a huge merit. So he wanted to have Kuei Lang and Yu Ling under him, and the best way to go about it was guilt-tripping. Thus merely exposing the ploy would be nothing compared to the gratitude of saving someone. But then he realized his life was great in the labor office, even having someone to chat with about Dao, and he simply put the merit business behind him. But it always paid to have another way out, just in case. People always make it so they have more than one choice, which brought him to the time he dropped that vague warning to Kuei Lang and Yu Ling, knowing fully well they'd ignore it, but gave him leverage to use when he'd throw in the real helping hand, telling them, "See that, you morons? The only way to go places is by working under me. With your dumb minds, all you're good for is following orders." But from the moment he saw the cemetery, his cultivation heaven, he wanted nothing else but to sit there, even ignoring his own saving grace plan. Then Elder Yuan came to enlighten him on the nature of the world, and he decided his next step, as Elder Yuan was his best bud. He had to return the favor. While he also wanted to put the demonic path's true meaning to the test, to see if all the destruction birthed life. So he came, for his little scheme and further understanding of the demonic way. There is no life without death. A demon nurturing life, how amusing. Zhuofan smiled as he checked the kid's pulse. "Steward Zhuo, what pill will you use?" Violent Demon asked curiously, and with admiration. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were tense. Zhuofan merely smiled at their worries. "You'll see after we get them to wake up." With a roar, an azure dragon soared from Zhuofan's body. The thrumming vitality made everyone's yuan qi surge. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling's wounded state recovered in an instant. To their shock, what just happened? Only Elder Yuan cried out at its appearance, "Dragon vein soul!" Returning dragons roar. Zhuofan's eyes flashed. Chapter 541, Reborn. Chapter 541, Reborn. Roar. The dragon roar echoed inside the cabin as the azure dragon circled once above Zhuofan's head before shooting for the patients. It followed Zhuofan's arm and entered Yuer shone azure and burst with vitality, soothing her broken body. And under the shocked eyes of the audience, the flesh mended in an instant. She was as good as new. The shock on Kuei Lang and Yu Ling was understandable. They wrote Zhuofan off as a god on this earth. That's why those 6th layer of Radiant stage experts are so willing to serve him. Zhuofan is a god capable of reviving the dead. Ignoring the flabbergasted looks he always got, Fan finished with Yuer and directed the dragon's soul towards Kuei Gang following the same process. The kid was back in prime shape in no time. Kuei Gang was filled with lashes from his veins bursting, yet now he didn't even have a scar on him. Fan had the dragon's soul return back to his body, leaving behind two bodies like newborn babes. With smooth and perfect skin, Kuei Lang and Yu Ling gulped at the children's peaceful sleepy faces. They had endless admiration for Fan, but now that they're healed, why weren't they waking up? Then, Yuer slowly opened her eyes and Yu Ling cheered. Yuer, you're all right. Sister, Yuer was filled with doubt. Why am I? Yuer moved but then found something wrong with her hand. Someone was holding it. She saw Fan's lewd look and creepy smile. That was what she saw at least. What are you doing, sicko? Yuer pulled her hand away and slapped him paw. A sharp sound accompanied the stinging on Fan's cheek, and his mood sank. For crying out loud, what have I been doing? I saved this girl's life and this is how you repay me? Yu Ling was scared witless, as Steward Zhua. Please calm down. She is still out of it, please don't mind it. Yu Ling berated her sister. Damn girl, Steward Zhua just saved your life and yet you've hit him? Apologize. Yuer looked puzzled from her sister to the glum Fan. Her brain turned to mush. What's going on? Why is sister, who has always hated Fan, sticking up for him? And she's even fawning over him. She knew her sister to be tough and hard-headed, not lowering her head in front of some wastrel. Yuer was vexed over her sister's attitude and made Yu Ling stomp her foot. Is this girl blind? Can't she see the hints I'm giving? He was holding your hand to save you, but now he can also end you. Then there's no way I can save you from that. Seeing Fan's throbbing cheek and heavy look, Yu Ling became jumpy. What's all this ruckus? Kuei Gang woke up groggy only to see his father move, and he felt his hand in Fan's hand. What's this punk doing here? Didn't father hate him? Kuei Lang feared that he'd copy Yuer and rushed over to push him back down. Damn brat. Uncle Zhua here just saved your life, so hurry up and kowtow. Everyone's faces twitched as they were lost for words when Kuei Gang had been seeing Fan as a senior uncle. Kuei Lang only had mockery and derision. But how time flies, now sucking up to the guy in any way possible. So even this tough guy has an immoral side. That was how a puzzled Kuei Gang found himself sitting on the bed and his dad pushing his head down again and again, so hard it could snap his waist. Though one thing was certain, for his dad's attitude to do a 180 flip. He knew something was going on, and as he was a good boy, he cupped his hands in gratitude. Thank you, uncle, for saving me. That's more like it. Fan glared at Yuer, who simply turned her head away. Yu Ling sighed. Yuer was stubborn as a mule, and that wouldn't change until someone explained it to her. Yu Ling shook her head as she told the kids circumstances of their situation. A truly cruel irony how the ever-helpful Humair turned out to be the viper plotting in the dark, while the ever-loathed Fan saved their lives in their final hour. At long last, the two kids' eyes shone with gratitude. Yuer even felt guilty seeing his red cheek. Forgive me, Yuer mumbled, still playing tough. Yu Ling sighed. Girl, you call that sincere? She knew though that those 3 words were already Yuer's limit. No matter how much she knew herself to be wrong, she'd never admit it. The fact that she spoke those words was remorseful enough. Well, he did save their asses, yet what did he get in return? A slap. Anyone would be sour about it. To say nothing of Fan mocked. Ha ha ha, I wouldn't have accepted Miss Yuer's apology, not with her stubborn streak. But for saving Miss Yuer, I had to encroach on her dignity, feeling her soft skin. A slap is what I deserve. Now we are even, or perhaps Miss will still hold a grudge. A lady's hand is invaluable. Fan finished with a snicker. Yuer's guilt ramped up. Her heart was a mess. Her eyes red. Yu Ling worked so hard to make peace with this godlike being only to fall out again. At least Yuer was out of the woods and could just return to the peaceful days as an outer disciple. Not if Fan could help it. Fan snickered and threw Kuei Lang a vial. He then said, "Open it and see what it is." Kuei Lang did so and his eyes bugged out. Everyone else gasped, so shocked their hearts were about to jump out of their chest cavity. 10th grade pill? They all exclaimed at the thick spiritual energy coming from it. Grinning, Juefan said, the heaven-reaching pill to be precise. The wounds on these kids were so heavy that their meridians were shot as well. While I did heal them and their cultivation has been saved, advancing in this state is another matter. But with the heaven-reaching pill, your son will toughen his meridians, reaching higher than before. Even the ethereal stage isn't a problem. It's that good? Kuei Lang was touched to the core, words failing to describe how thankful he was. Then he pulled Kuei Gang from the bed, and both kowtowed as Kuei Lang taught his son, hurry up and thank Uncle Joie. He just gave you your entire future. Thank you, Uncle Joie, thank you. Kuei Gang knew this was beyond kindness, bowing again and again. He was truly fortunate. Without popping his veins, there would be no Juefan to save him, and no 10th grade pill to lift his prospects. It was God-sent. Who in the entire sect could consume a 10th grade pill? While Yu Ling looked bitter and crushed, Steward Joie didn't cure them completely. That slap must be eating you inside right about now, baby sister. Juefan gave Yu Ling's sorrowful look a smug grin. That's what you get for being an ungrateful lass. Chapter 542, Orders. Chapter 542, Orders. Crack! A shattering sound came from Kuei Gang, who was meditating as his cultivation soared. He was now in the 8th layer of profound heaven stage, lifting up from the 7th. Kuei Lang lit up in joy, forever grateful for Juefan's aid. His son took the pill and powered up just after some meditation. That's the 10th grade heaven-reaching pill for you, not just remolding one's body but increasing cultivation too. Kuei Gang let out a deep breath and his eyes flashed. Then he kneeled before Juefan and kowtowed again, while his dad had forced him the first time. This gesture came from the bottom of his heart. Now he knew what it meant to be reborn. The simple act of lifting his hand contained unimaginable power. His meridians thrumming with Yuan Qi, even though the increase was only 1 layer. His wide meridians translated it into a power increase of dozens of times. He felt unstoppable and was certain he might never feel so amazing ever again. The 3 bumps on his head were totally worth it. While Kuei Lang laughed in joy, Juefan glanced over and stated, "My work here is done. It's time for me to hit the cemetery and mind my own training." But Yu Ling had a different opinion. Wait, Steward Joie, please help Yuer as well. Else she will forever be in the 6th layer of profound heaven stage. Your point being? Juefan cocked an eyebrow and spoke in an icy tone. I came to save them and that's what I did. As for how much, it's all up to my whims. Since I don't feel like it, I'll leave it at that. Juefan snorted and walked away. Yu Ling slumped to the ground in despair. Her begging eyes landed on Elder Yuan, to say a few words, but Elder Yuan sighed and shook his head. Getting Juefan involved was already a miracle in itself. Opportunity comes knocking only once, it is best to treasure it. He was annoyed, and getting him to finish healing was nigh impossible. The 4 scheming demons resumed their creepy laughter, with Violent Demon getting delighted in others' suffering. Told you so. Steward Joie is petty to the core. You deserve it after getting on his bad side. Hi. Yu Ling wallowed in remorse. Wait. Though Juefan's step slowed, he did not turn around. Yuer watched his back with a victimized face. I would like to thank you first. And apologize, but I'm not begging you to help me. I'm satisfied with being able to keep my cultivation and not turning into a cripple. Yes, that's it. Juefan paused for a second, then kept walking. The 4 scheming demons jeered. Dumb broad, no amount of pleading and begging will move Steward Joie. You're barking at the wrong tree. Kuei Lang sighed at Yuer's fate. Yu Ling felt bitter at her sister's mistreated look. She's just too damn pig-headed. When will she learn to be more flexible? Everyone sighed at Yuer's missed God-sent opportunity. Oh, 4 scheming demons were not included, still mocking in the background, but soon, the 4 stopped and scratched their heads. Boss, didn't we forget something? Sly Demon asked. Violent Demon nodded with a frown. I have the same feeling that we've overlooked something. What were we doing again? Weren't we talking about how after being around Steward Zhua for so long we should get something out of the Luo clan's share? Why only Li Jingtian and those other foggies get to have something and not us? Scrooge Demon exclaimed. The four nodded. Yeah, that's it. We gotta demand heaven-reaching pills from Steward Zhua. Ha ha ha. Violent Demon's laugh was short as they all shouted, the heaven-reaching pill. Whoosh. Violent Demon jumped at Kuei Gang's throat as he howled, our precious heaven-reaching pill. Damn brat, spit it out now. His brothers came to help, pulling and shouting, executives, please, you're choking him. Kuei Lang said to break them up, knowing he couldn't do much else. The four scheming demons were freaky in temper and strength. They might very well take it out on him instead, and wouldn't stop till he was torn to pieces. While Kuei Gang was gasping through the chokehold, he said, Uncle Zhua gave it to me. How can I spit it out? And there's no way one pill is enough for the four of you. You'd be better off asking Uncle Zhua. The four jerked to a halt and nodded to each other without preamble. They shot after Zhua Fan as trails of smoke. With them gone, the people breathed easier. Those pygmies were outrageous, outlandish and impossible. Not only were their brains useless, but they were a ticking time bomb. It was only a matter of time before the four took their heads. Just how on earth did Steward Zhua tame them? He really is a god. The four caught onto Zhua Fan, who was just standing in the shadow of a tree. They made a beeline for him. Zhua Fan grinned. Took you long enough. Steward Zhua was waiting for us? Violent Demon laughed. Zhua Fan nodded. I know your thoughts like it's my second nature. I knew you were after my pills the minute you said, healing the kids will need medicine. Whoosh. An azure glow shot for the four and Violent Demon caught the vial. You might not have joined the final battle of Tianyu, but you're on my side and I don't skimp on my people. Zhua Fan crossed his arms, leaning on the tree. In there, you have 4 heaven-reaching pills. Split them amongst yourselves. Grinning, Violent Demon felt awkward, though he had no shame putting the vial in his ring. With Steward Zhua as our boss, the way forward is limitless. We may be in the demon scheming sect, but we'll follow Steward Zhua through hell and high water. Yep. The brothers echoed, then turned their angry stare at Violent Demon. Boss, Steward Zhua told us to share, so why are you hogging them? Take them out. Violent Demon spoke with entitlement. I am the boss, so of course I am the one to keep them. Bullshit. The other 3 pygmies raved, raining fists on him. Zhua Fan waved to stop them. Sharing is for you to decide, but later. I need you to do something for me. We await your orders, Steward Zhua. The 4 cupped their hands the next second. Zhua Fan said, as executives, there's little information you have access to, but you should pick up clues about the elders from their actions. So keep an eye out for the slightest disturbance and report back. And more importantly, see if the elders intend to have Kuei Lang and Yu Ling reinstated. Why do you ask, Steward Zhua? You know that once someone is dumped in the labor office, coming out is almost impossible. There hasn't been a pardon in centuries. Violent Demon asked, puzzled. Zhua Fan smiled. When Humair went to the labor office, she taunted the 2. Was it all just showing off and acting smug? She plotted against the juniors just to get to them. In short, help me keep an eye out. If they are to return and I have no choice but to do as Siewuyue said, then these 2 are my ticket into the inner sect. The 4 scheming demons cupped their hands. Chapter 543, Taunt. Chapter 543, Taunt. 3 days later, Yuer and Kuei Gang jumped back on the horse, or, in this case, back to the outer sect promotion to beg the elders. Everyone at the competition was stunned with their gruesome wounds. Everyone was aware of their fate, yet here they were a couple days later. To top it all off, Kuei Gang had even advanced. What the hell did you eat to get on your feet so fast? The elders were even more shocked with how these 2 had made a full recovery, not just in body, but in cultivation as well. It left them speechless. No one healed completely was a saying everyone knew. Yet these two were back in action better than before, but since the two had shed their status as a waste and had yet to piss off any important people, there was no point leaving them in the labor office, so the elders welcomed them back into the outer sects without even an inquiry. Meanwhile, Humair swung her hips walking towards a pavilion. Lu Su was there, playing the zither in the marvelous scenery, the river on one side and the mountain on the other, though the tone of the music gave an insight into his foul mood. Second senior brother, this is absurd. Humair was rushing now and appeared with a flabbergasted face. Who? The zither stopped as Lu Su sighed. Mayor, what has got you so shocked? Is the sky falling? Not yet, but what I found is far more wicked. Humair shook her head. Just what could have gotten you so unnerved? Lu Su raised an eyebrow. Humair had a bitter smile. Second senior brother, I bet you won't believe it either. Those brats have made a full recovery and are back in the outer sect. Say what? Lu Su was incredulous. There's no way, not with their broken meridians. And so fast too. Just heal and dash. No, not even healing is possible. That's why I said it's absurd. Humair stomped, her dainty complexion ruined by her frown. Lu Su paced around the pavilion in thought. No, this is an impossible feat for Kuei Lang and Yu Ling. Some big shot must have lent a hand. But who? Not even the elders can do this, while the venerables that can are too few to count. Moreover, the price is too big. Would a venerable waste all his hard-earned capital just to save some nobodies? Not even Kuei Lang saving his master from death would get his master to help so much. Lu Su speculated. Well, of course not, since no venerable had the good stuff like Shuofan, nor were they so filthy rich to throw away 10th-grade pills like nothing. They were clueless as well about the golden goose hiding in the labor office, or the labor office's doorstep would fall every day because of the crowd of people coming to hug that big tree. Humair frowned. Second senior brother, the brats are too freaky. I made some inquiries and it only gets weirder. Just that I don't know how it's related to the two. What? Lu Su asked. Humair said, the same day the brats recovered, someone said they saw Kuei Lang and Yu Ling fawning over Shuofan. They'd cast out in the cemetery to come see the brats. But it wasn't long after that Shuofan was back in the cemetery while the brats improved. Shuofan again? Lu Su's brow shook. Humair surmised. Maybe Shuofan got his backer to save the two. Out of the question. Shuofan has no status in the sect, and has no one to ask. Lu Su shot it down. Humair cried. He has no one in the sect? But isn't he a wastrel? Ha ha ha, that was just us jumping to conclusions. Lu Su sighed. I asked for Master's help to get to the bottom of this, and Shuofan has no ties to any elder or venerable. He's a nobody. Then why would the sect leader bring him in just to demote him? Humair couldn't understand. Lu Su shook his head. No one understands the sect leader's mind. We can't make wild guesses. More or less he found a kid with great potential but who lacks experience, so he dumped him in the labor office as a trial. You know how ruthless sect leader is to his disciples. Didn't you just say not to make wild guesses? Humair put on her charming smile. Lu Su smiled, but his mood soured soon. We may not know how these two events are related, but one thing is certain, the punk will rise sooner or later, and become a threat to our position. Second senior brother, you mean? Humair frowned. Lu Su nodded, his eyes icy. Humair hesitated. So he isn't a wastrel, but the sect leader has brought him into the sect, and he will even become his disciple one day. That means the sect leader will look into what we're doing. No worries, sect leader is unyielding. He may appreciate the kid's talent, but shows his cruelty by throwing him into the labor office where one's very life is at stake. No disciple of the sect leader is a weakling. Lu Su's eyes glinted with bloodthirst. Humair nodded, blossoming in a smile. Leave him to me. His seventh layer of profound heaven cultivation is good, but I never touched him before, fearing his wastrel status. But now I have no qualms. Junior sister, a dreamboat is nice, but getting greedy is a no-no. Watch out for Kuei Lang and Yu Ling. If they report you to the sect, it will bring you trouble. Lu Su snickered. Humair waved him off, her smile intoxicating. Second senior brother, I know what I'm doing and won't let greed get the best of me. Hi hi hi. Humair swung her hips on her way back, catching Lu Su's content eyes in their oblivious states. They were going to piss off this easy pretty boy on the surface yet mean and ruthless beast on the inside. Humair and Lu Su were digging their own grave. Calling it, I told you so, couldn't be more fitting. Who? The biting wind whistled past Xuefan in the cemetery, swallowed by the black energy around him. With a few shakes, Xuefan showed a bright smile. Reaching the 8th layer was just around the corner. Pa. Though the snapping of a branch dampened his good mood, for crying out loud, what is it this time? Who the hell is messing with my quality time breaking through? Xuefan grumbled as he took back the black energy and looked at the newcomer coming over even before he saw her. Her voice reached him, hypnotic and intoxicating. Not even Xuefan's steady heart could fight the attraction off completely. Oh, junior brother Xuefan, it's been a while. I have longed for you so much. Humair swung her ass, ramping up the charm. Any male would be reduced to a bumbling, drooling idiot right about now, wishing nothing more than to jump into the sack. Though the green grass would do just fine as well when it came to jumping like rabbits. It wasn't Humair's average looks doing this either, but the way she carried herself, her every gesture, her every blink, got every male hooked, Xuefan included. Though as he wiped the drool off his face, his heart turned into an ice block. Miss me, is it? Miss your head. 2 months back, you took me for a wastrel, yet now you've come to toy with me. He, isn't it just because I saved those two? Heh, you've come to the right guy. Licking his pearly whites, Xuefan's eyes flashed with savagery, waiting to pounce on the oblivious prey inching closer to its doom. Chapter 544, Fiendish. Chapter 544, Fiendish. Her devilish swing of hips drew nearer with every intoxicating step. In front of him, she rolled her coquettish eyes in a frown of revulsion. Oh my, what is this place? How can you stand it? Just how could those two send darling to such a foul place? Ha ha ha, but senior sister, I like it here. Xuefan's smile leaked a jeer, rolling her eyes. Humair grumbled, how can you deprecate yourself, junior brother? You may not care about your body, but I am heartbroken. Humair placed a hand on her chest. This killer move got even Xuefan dazed. Humair snickered inside. Dear Fanner, I'm going to give those two a piece of my mind, and make them take you back. I can't bear to see you wither in this awful place, enduring the cruel winds, when you're already sporting white hair. Humair traced Xuefan's hair with her dainty hand, then his head, then his cheek. Her hand fell on Xuefan's cheek like a feathery touch, making his heart skip a beat. With a bright smile speaking endless promises, Humair fell into his arms. His face flushed, his ears reddened and his mind blanked. Junior sister, what are you doing? Xuefan stammered, giggling. Humair said, silly, I found you so pitiful, enduring so many hardships, and wished to reward you. Reward? What is it? Xuefan showed an odd smile. Humair rolled her eyes, pouting. Meanie, you know. You want me to spill it out? Why play hard to get when it's so obvious? Humair's soft hands wound around his neck like vipers, making him freeze with a giggle. Humair's sexy lips touched his neck like a bolt out of the blue. Xuefan shivered, just like a veer dash. Alright, a real virgin. Not knowing what to do with his hands, Humair had a cold smile looking at his nervousness, proud of herself too. This pretty boy is in the bag. Humair's hot lips kissed him along his neck, like a general sieging a city, all this while Xuefan had a dumb look on his face, and was rooted in place. She took all the liberties she wanted, attacking his frail heart with every action. He was like a lamb in front of a tigress, puny, weak and helpless to even cry out, better yet, not wanting to cry. Her full lips finally reached Xuefan's mouth. Junior sister, no. Xuefan could hardly speak. Humair figured, that should do it. And her eyes took a darker tone. Time to die. Humaire's power surged, a thick aroma wafted from her, stopping any of his movements with a whiff. He couldn't move even if he wanted to. Grinning, Humaire wiggled her tongue in Joafan's mouth like an eel, sealing them together. Seeing her succubus eyes, Joafan's blood boiled, his dantian roiled, wanting to escape. So that's it, she's training in some charm method to steal men's yang for herself. To men, their yang was their essence. It was through it that they grew closer to the Tao, their cultivation rose. It was the foundation of their very existence, without which no spiritual energy would gather upon them, or at least, they couldn't hold it and turn it into one's own yuan qi. Losing one's yang meant turning into a cripple, if not a corpse. A man's yang made for good medicine, as well to a woman's yin. An intact yang even more so. Thus the world had ways to nurture yang through yin and the other way around. A shame that her wiles fell short when it came to Joafan. Not something here meager third layer of radiant stage cultivation could overcome. Your funeral. Joafan activated demon transformation art. Whoosh. Thick black energy shot from Joafan as his blood cooled, and Humaire's poison inside it vanished, offering his joy of movement once more. The pitch-black energy wrapped Humaire in its black abyss. Humaire's expression froze in that prideful smile as the horror in her eyes soared. Why can't I take his yang, and why is such a dreadful power seeping into my body? I can't stop it. What the hell did he do? Humaire was panicking, wishing nothing more than to bolt, but having lost the means to escape, she became the prey of a ruthless savage beast. The prey and hunter had switched places. SSS. Joafan's trademark evil smile was back in the works as the black energy rushed back to him and seeped out of Humaire. Humaire felt her yuan qi plunging out of her control. Didondesh. Her frail hands pushed Joafan's chest, wanting to escape from this demon. Alas, no prey had ever left Joafan's sight, unless dead as the yuan qi left her. Humaire grew weaker, and so did her attempts. Realizing her life was leaving her as well, Humaire cried she was regretting coming to mess with this freak. How is this enjoying a pretty boy when I am the one turning to dust? If she had a second chance, she would never ever come at him, even if it killed her. Steward Zhu'er, a hoarse voice grunted to a stop. The two of them noticed 4 people watching them. Kuei Lang, Yu Ling and the kids. Humaire was thrilled finding her enemies here, crying, "Save me." Grasping at straws, Humaire cared not about sides right now, but only about her survival. The 4 of them bumping into such a touching scene were too out of it to react. Is Steward Zhu'er shagging the fox? That means we've come at the worst time. Sorry to disturb you, we'll be going now. But Steward Zhu'er, she is evil. Having fun is one thing, but never let it become serious or you'll be sorry. Kuei Lang sighed awkwardly. The other 3 went crimson, knowing it was all a misunderstanding. He shoved Humaire off, giving back her freedom, much to her joy. Not for long though, because here came Joafan's coup de grace, clutching her neck and hoisting her. This woman came to steal my yang. Joafan spat. The 4 exclaimed. So they're not bumping uglies, but she came to kill him. But having felt Joafan's power on their own skin, they laughed at her predicament, while they were also happy that they didn't tell this vixen about Joafan's real strength, or this scene wouldn't have happened. Evil begets evil, as they say. The bitch is finished. Humaire was filled with remorse, tears streaming down. What is wrong with me messing with an obvious hidden expert? She was regretting her decision so much that she was getting an ulcer. Chapter 545. Rearing. Chapter 545. Rearing. Humaire, I didn't feel like joining your intersect politics, but since you've come knocking you will get just desserts. Joafan grinned and flicked Humaire away. She landed hard and watched him with fear. Joafan waved her off. Take a hike, I'll leave you with a warning. This is far from over, your reckoning is at hand. Humaire chilled and quaked as she stumbled away. Far from this monster, never had she felt such dread as she did from Joafan, and wished to leave this place at once. How ironic. She had come to suck him dry only to enter the wolf's jaws instead. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling wanted to chase but forewent it on account of Joafan's icy face. Being in a demonic sect for so long, they knew not to encroach on a strong man's dignity. With Juefan here, their opinions were moot. Or dealing with that fox would earn this big shot's ire for now at least. They let their bitter enemy alone to live another day. Glancing over, Juefan said, "Clever, you know how to defer to me, though it's also what saved you. There's no point inventing, adding to your crimes and nullifying your return to the inner sect." "What?" the two cried out. "Return?" Juefan nodded. "I've been inquiring around for you. In light of your great achievements in the labor office, the elders and venerables are going to pardon you. Or Humair wouldn't have taunted you after targeting the kids. It's all smoke and mirrors to hide their true plan. So that's why." Kuei Lang and Yu Ling rejoiced at the near miss they just survived. They'd have plenty of time for revenge once they are back in the inner sect. No pressure. 2 lives for one was so not worth it. "Steward Zhua, why did you spare her?" Kuei Lang wondered. "You're not in the labor office because of punishment. Killing her was just a disciple dispute, within your right and rules. It might even get you out of labor duty, and straight into inner sect." Juefan shook his head. "I'd be leaving myself open. Killing her here would force her handler to implicate others, and your return to the inner sect might even fail. Besides, I have different plans. She's not worthy of dying at my hand." Kuei Lang and Yu Ling had puzzled looks. Do his words have another meaning? Juefan laughed at their looks since they didn't know the intricate political schemes the higher-ups employed. "Now why have you come for me?" He eyed the 4 despite knowing all about it with a bow. The gang recalled their objective and said, "Steward Zhua, we have come for you. I've made up my mind and that won't change. No amount of begging will help." Juefan cut her off, turning away. Having debated with Elder Yuan on Dao, he understands the most. Ever wondered why he isn't here as well? Yu Ling gasped. They had asked Elder Yuan to come as well, but he knew nothing would change. Juefan is a true man of ambition, never going back on his words, never regretful of his decisions. All sighed. Then Juefan added, "Although your timing is perfect, I need you to do something for me. Steward Zhua has saved my son and I would go through hell or high water for you." Kuei Lang declared. Yu Ling cupped her hands as well, though she wasn't into it. Having lost the jovial mood, Juefan knew she wasn't much keen on doing anything since he stopped helping her baby sister halfway, but Juefan did it on purpose, all for this moment, not from you, but from the juniors. Juefan spoke. The 2 jerked. What could he have for them? Juefan grinned. "I need them to deal with someone." "Who?" all echoed. "Humair." "What?" Startled, the 4 couldn't believe their ears. He wanted the kids to deal with a 3rd layer of Radiant Stage Cultivator. Besides the fact, this task was impossible. Humair's life was in his hands just now, yet he let her go. The hell had he been thinking, sending kids after her? Expecting this reaction, Juefan smiled. "Not right now, of course, but in 3 months, when the outer sect promotion ends and the inner promotion begins. I want everyone to see that outer disciples can beat an inner disciple." "This can't be." Kuei Lang was incredulous. "The inner disciples are all excellent talents showcased in the outer sect competition. They all show promise of reaching Radiant Stage within 5 years of becoming an inner disciple. And that Humair is in the 3rd layer, even more well known, with a high chance of being chosen as an elite. What can 2 children do against a Radiant Stage expert at their level? Steward Zhua, if you hate them so much, I would do it in their stead and appease your anger." "You'll do no such thing. I can kill her anytime I want. I've only let her go so that she'd attract attention in the inner competition after losing to some juniors. I want her to be disgraced. You and Yu Ling better not do anything the following few months, or you'll be sorry." Juefan snorted. Kuei Lang sighed. This Steward Zhua is a deep mastermind in one moment and a spoiled brat the next. For the kids to finish that woman on the stage would definitely make her a disgrace, but the question was, could they do it? They were a stage of cultivation below her. Everyone knew the difference between Radiant Stage and Profound Heaven Stage, but then he turned to the anomaly in front of him and words left him. He might be the only monster in the Profound Heaven Stage as strong as a peak Radiant Stage. Kuei Lang shook his head. Steward Zhua, not everyone is as special as you. The only time they might be her match is in 10 years. Enough baloney, I am asking them. It's their choice. I will personally teach them in these 3 months, guaranteeing their rise. Be that as it may, there's no way they'd reach the 3rd layer of Radiant Stage in such a short time. They're going to die. Kuei Lang lamented. If an outer disciple challenges an inner disciple, they have all the right to kill the former. Yu Ling nodded, ignoring the 2 labor office bosses. Zhuofan turned to his victims. Well, any complaints? I'm looking at you, Yuer. To boost you, I'll have to give you a heaven-reaching pill. Better think it over. Kuei Gang shook his head in the end, offering his apologies while stepping back. He had just gotten better and his body had grown a level. His future was limitless and he didn't need to take unnecessary risks. While Yuer's gaze hardened and she nodded. I agree. Fool, do you want to die? Yu Ling cried. Yuer gave an innocent smile. Sister, I do not care about my stagnant cultivation, but I do know that I will become your weakness. Here is a chance to not only advance but defeat our enemy. I have to try. At worst, you'll just refuse to see me as your little sister, and I won't drag you down anymore. Oh child, you've never burdened me. Yu Ling rubbed her head, choking with emotion. Zhuofan jumped up and grabbed Yuer. Good, you'll be following me for the next 3 months. And the 2 blinked away. Yu Ling panicked, looking everywhere but finding nothing. All she heard was Zhuofan's disembodied shout. People, I'll give you the new and improved Yuer in 3 months. Look forward to it, ha ha ha. Chapter 546, Black Windblade. Chapter 546, Black Windblade. In an elegant and tasteful pavilion on a mountain peak, Humair stumbled her way over to the stone table where she splattered, bathed in crimson. Her delicate complexion had now taken a sickly turn. Whoosh. An azure person flashed over. The second senior brother Lu Su gasped at her wounds. Junior sister Mayor, what the hell happened? Did Kuei Lang and Yu Ling attack you while you dealt with that punk? They didn't have to. It's all that rotten punk's fault. He played us. Humair shook her head, lamenting. This must be my most unlucky year. I just ran into a monster, a beast this close to tearing me apart. Lu Su asked, Junior sister, what are you saying? I don't understand anything. Ha ha ha, you're not the only one. He's supposed to be some weak lamb, yet underneath it all, he's a monster ready to pounce. I would have never risked today if I knew him for what he was. Humair sighed with a pained face. Having complained enough, she detailed her battle to Lu Su. Lu Su was dumbstruck. That brat is stronger than you? How? Why else do you think he had me immobilized in one move? I couldn't resist at all. Humair sighed. Lu Su paced around the pavilion, his face heavy. With a power like Zhuofan, this changes things. Sect leader brought him in for a reason after all. But why dump him in the labor office? What is Sect leader up to? Second senior brother, don't be rash. Humair cut in his train of thoughts. We can't beat that guy, so don't taunt him. We're already on his bad side from today, but let's not do something we'll regret. So? This is the demon scheming sect. No matter how great he is, he still needs a stable footing to stand tall. What slips my understanding is the sect leader's design revolving around him. Will it affect the elite selection? Lu Su's eyes glinted. This is no longer something as simple as a disciple affair. I'll take it up with the master and hear his opinion. Humair cried, Venerable sure. Yes. Lu Su nodded. Let him probe Zhuofan's importance to sect leader, and we'll just ask him or an elite senior brother to deal with the brat, depending on how much sect leader values him. If the sect leader has his eyes set on him, we'll block the labor office and he won't get any merit to leave this place. With no excuse to base his rise on, he'll be stuck there forever. Humair nodded, and her charming smile was back, yet was soon replaced with a frown. But with his strength, he simply has to challenge an inner disciple before the elders and venerables and he's out. Moreover, our competition is in 3 months. He is our biggest threat. Ha ha ha, that's even easier. If we meet him, we just forfeit. Lu Su said. Humair was still puzzled. Lu Su beamed. Junior sister, everyone that ends up in the labor office is either a criminal or a reject. The first type will either die of old age, stuck in there for the rest of their lives, or gain enough merit to recover their status. Exactly how Kuei Lang and Yu Ling created the Azura Circle, laborers are the lowest rung. No matter how hard they work, how strong they get, they'll never become disciples again, only elders or venerables to safeguard the precious inner disciples. Zhuofan is a laborer but not a criminal, that means he's lower than a bug. So no matter how much he proves his strength, he'll be a venerable or elder at most. Unless… What? Humair asked eagerly. Lu Su shook his head. Junior sister Mayor, it doesn't matter. It's just impossible. Unless he flips the world on its back, and has the whole sect acknowledge him. That's the only way to become an elite. They say the High Venerable came from the labor office as well, with unstoppable power, the highest in the sect. But even so, he's still just a venerable, falling short of becoming the sect leader. It is a rule unchanged for eternity. Humair nodded. That means Zhuofan and us will never cross paths. That's how it should be, but I worry that the sect leader has brought him here not to deal with disciples, but those old guys. Lu Su's eyes glinted. If their situation does not settle, our structure will change. Humair nodded after a pause. Meanwhile, back among the tombstones, where the een was thickest, a guy and a girl popped out of nowhere. Achoo! Yuer sneezed from the biting wind, hugging herself from the cold. The creepiness of this place had her feeling threatened. The sneeze was the most obvious sign. Even at her 6th layer of profound heaven cultivation, some cold wind actually managed to pierce her body. Zhuofan had an ineffable smile. From now on, you will be under my guidance. You are to follow my words to the letter, no matter if the path is rugged, torturing, or deadly. You will obey. And get it out of your head that someone's going to save you. I've set up a barrier those two will never find. Got it? Yes. Yuer nodded with a steeled face, disregarding her gruesome fate. Zhuofan beamed. No questions? How strong you'll get or your survival rate? None, Yuer said. Knowing that you can restore my meridians to keep me cultivating is enough. Nothing else matters. Zhuofan smiled. Great. He made a gesture and pointed. Place of een, gates of heaven, howls of wraiths gather within me, biting winds lash my body, rip the sky, destroy this world. The air shimmered under Yuer's incredulous look, and a 2 meters tall door appeared. It opened with a creak to reveal nothing but a black abyss and howling winds like banshees' screams. Yuer stood frozen before the eerie door, and ice formed on her hand, robbing her of feeling from it. Yuer lost her composure, now panicking. Zhuofan smiled. This is the 7th grade array I've set up, Black Wind Array. I've gathered all the biting winds, strongest here in the cemetery's center. Entering this place will have one's bones and tendons snap like twigs, their soul pulverized. A feeble mind would end up soulless just looking at the door. But not you, because you have a death wish. Yuer turned her shocked face at him. How does he know my thoughts? Zhuofan continued. From the moment I laid my eyes on you, I knew your character, ruthless to the extreme and even more so to yourself. I thought you were just putting up a tough front, but after all that's happened to you, I knew it all came from your steeled will. It's because of you that your sister ended up in the labor office and made you feel like a burden. You worked hard to live up to her expectations while also hellbent on succeeding or die trying. So that maybe dying will free her of this burden. That's why not fully healing didn't come as such a disappointment to you, because you're a lost cause, hopeless, right? Zhuofan's eyes pierced her. Yue stared right back, though her eyes were in shock. He saw through me. Not even my sister knows me so well. Now, this temper is quite good, perfect to train this top profound ranked martial art, Black Wind Blade. Zhuofan's trademark evil smile was back in business. His hand revealed a jade slip. This art is trained with the biting winds here, far stronger than your demon-devouring saber. And since your meridians are shot to begin with, this een seeping into you is a blessing in disguise, and you don't need my help. Follow this art and these winds will be your deadliest weapon. Yue took the jade slip, about to read it, when Zhuofan threw her inside the door. No time, just get to it. Ah! The devil's hand pushed a wailing Yue into hell. Zhuofan stayed behind with a wide smirk. The crucial point of the Black Wind Blade was to stay calm in the face of certain death. Or the second one panicked, the een would devour him. Zhuofan planned for Yue to learn this art, the minute he saw her. All his actions lead to this point, even foregoing healing her. He wasn't that petty, just cruel, or no matter how much she agreed, her sister would never let her. Chapter 547, Probing. Chapter 547, Probing. Woo. The biting winds howled in the cemetery, brushing up the white hair and making them dance. Zhuofan closed his eyes and sat on a rock. Then, with 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, he got another layer under his belt. After Humair's interference half a month ago, Zhuofan finally got the feeling of reaching the 8th layer again, and grasped it. He eased a breath and gazed at the endless black before him. The winds sounded like wailing wraiths, drowning the sound of a faint sharp swing. Yue had been in there for half a month. The first week was only wails of agony, but now it's replaced with the sharp sound of blade swings. Zhuofan perked up knowing Yue had blended in with the array. Zhuofan, congratulations. In just a few months you've reached the 8th layer of Profound Heaven stage. The voice was saying one thing and the tone another, thick with sarcasm. Zhuofan saw a hazy shadow floating over. Its vibe was ice-cold. Xie. Zhuofan blinked. Even as a soul, Zhuofan recognized the voice. Xie faltered, then snapped. It's Sect Leader for you. Oh, Sect Leader. Zhuofan nodded. What wind brought the great Sect Leader here, I wonder? Just checking up on your progress. Xie sighed. You've done well for yourself by the looks of it, hogging the cemetery to yourself and cultivating in peace. But you never once considered my words. You wound me. Am I not doing it as we speak? Zhuofan stuck out his chin. Xie sneered, then sighed. What are you up to now, placing some arrays over here? Zhuofan, where's that fire from back in the Luo clan gone to? Why are you so boring here, not doing anything? Sect Leader, whatever gave you that idea? You told me to earn merit, and that's what I'm doing. Zhuofan stuck his chest out, pointing around him. Did you want me to fight my way up to the elites? It's fast, crude and brutal, but I doubt it's your intention. If it were that easy I'd have had you do it by now. Why else did I put you here to earn merit? Xie sighed. With how deep the still waters of demon scheming sect run, using brute force will end with getting besieged on all sides. Zhuofan's eyes flashed. Xie nodded. You're a smart guy and should have guessed by now why I pardoned those 4 shits and made them executives, even sent them as guides for you. All so they could work under you and make it easier for you. I reckon they should have gathered juicy info after all this time eavesdropping. Demon scheming sect is filled with factions. Besides the disciples' conflicts, there are also the elders and venerables behind them. Like that elite selection, becoming an elite will get one showered with resources, with their masters dipping their fingers in this wealth as well. By bursting into this act, everyone will be out to get me. And besides, Sect Leader doesn't want me for this. Xie shadow-eyed him for a long time. He nodded in the end. Zhuofan, you're very clever. Fighting your way into the inner sect, you'll have elders and venerables wishing to take you in. But that's not what I want to see. You'll just be integrated into the system, and that won't change anything. A rot has been festering inside the demon scheming sect for years and years. Not even I and High Venerable can touch these old fools' interests. It's because of their selfishness that the disciples fight each other and end up looking like trash outside. The disciples' strength has degenerated so much since the last Double Dragon gathering. Xiaowu was overcome by sadness and changed the subject, so when I mentioned you to High Venerable, he had you placed in the labor office, to watch you and free you from those choppy waters, since no one coming from the labor office will ever become an elite. Unless you have the whole sect's respect, that means overthrowing the elders and venerables' selfishness, while also crushing them into submission. That's the same as bitch slapping them and getting them to thank me for it. Isn't that impossible? Zhuofan pondered, then shook his head. Xiaowu smiled. That's why I brought you. At first I figured I'd just take Huangpu Qingtian to enter the elites, but witnessing your skills, I decided to go big and have you do the unthinkable. I want you to sit on the elders and venerables, to reform the elites so that the next Double Dragon gathering won't be a crushing defeat. High Venerable's wish is even loftier, to reform the entire sect. That's why he sent you to the labor office. You just made up your mind on your own without even asking me if I am up for it. Zhuofan sighed. Xiaowu laughed. Now you understand everything. So how will you work towards that merit? Zhuofan pouted. Xiaowu followed his eyes and saw the black hole with howling winds. Not getting it. He waited for the kid's explanation. Sect leader, in the next inter-sect competition, I will make my challenge. Zhuofan stated. Xiaowu said, I just told you I wouldn't have put you here if it's just about throwing fists. You'll become an executive or elder at most. It's not me doing the fighting, but an outer sect disciple. Scratching his nose, Zhuofan had an evil smile. Xiaowu pondered, exclaiming, You want to smack those oldies in public and affect their repute. Not only that, but also probe for their limit. And I can't get on everyone's bad side either, but win one faction while slapping another. I just got on Kuei Lang and Yuling's good side. They're masters. Venerables Bai and Qi. They had lost faith in their disciples, but nowadays, their inner disciples were done in by sparring with Guei Hu. So they were hasty to make the Azura Circle as their great merit to bring them back. I get your plan, so I'll have the two return as inner disciples in no time and establish your faction. Xiaowu nodded but frowned the next second. But how is an outer disciple supposed to beat a seasoned inner disciple in just 3 months of training? Ha ha ha, leave that to me, sect leader. And that competition will just be the start. I will have the entire sect trembling and crush the old geezer's venues. Though, will the sect leader be kind enough to lend a hand when they start raving? Zhuofan snickered. Xiaowu said, I am the leader of the demon scheming sect and must be obeyed. By the way, do you know our rules? Of course. Zhuofan nodded. As long as you're within the purview of the rules, you have me on your side. Fricking weasel, you want to use me and still won't stick your neck out. Zhuofan rolled his eyes. Xiaowu soothed him. Even I have my problems. You're a smart guy and can use the rules. Like how venerables and elders can't touch the disciples, the higher ranks can't mess with the lower rung. Any issue will be dealt with by capital punishment. Better remember these important rules and use them well, ha ha ha. Zhuofan nodded, mirroring his grin. Xiaowu clearly wanted to instigate him. Go ahead and kill to your heart's content. With me around, no one will touch you. It's not my fault that you're the lowest rung there is, a laborer. You can beat anyone you want, even kill them. Just win. What was the lowliest status in the sect became Zhuofan's best shield, working in his name to cleanse the demon scheming sect of those selfish pricks. As for the old-timers in question, they were blissfully oblivious of sect leader's cruel plan he had in store for them, still fighting among themselves over crumbs. Chapter 548, Assassin. Chapter 548, Assassin. Greetings, Master, Grand Elder, Second Elder. Greetings, Master, Venerable Shur, Grand Elder. In a quaint wooden house, second senior brother, and who Mayor bowed before three people. They were tall and imposing elderlies. The one in the middle had a hard look and sharp features, immovable as a rock. Venerable Shur, Master of Lu Su, on his left was a scrawny old man with beady eyes used particularly in devouring Hu Mayor, this hunk of feminine pulchritude. He was none other than the second elder, her master. As for the one on the right, he had a dull face and a shaky beard. He was in charge of distributing the sect's resources. Grand Elder, he had a weight no other elder in the sect had. In fact, most average venerables had to show him respect. The trio sat on a couch, watching the two, while a buff man at the side sported a savage look. Not even his silence could conceal his ruthless vibe. Gay, who, I know it's hard to hide the fiendish aura of that cultivation method, but you can at least control it and forge it into a weapon. Grand Elder glanced over the man, bowed. Thank you, Master, I shall take it to heart. Gui, who breathed in, and the savage aura got cut down in half. Grand Elder didn't react, while Venerable Shur smiled. Gui, who is the head inner disciple for a reason. At the 7th layer of Radiant Stage, and the top profound ranked cultivation method, Underworld Fiend, there's hardly any elites that could fight him. Master is right, head senior brother is remarkable. I cannot wait. With the head senior brother's help, no other fellow disciples can stand in our way of becoming elite. Lu Su spoke in the most humble tone. Venerable Shur smiled. Grand Elder waved his hand. Of no importance. Gui, who helping you is all part of the agreement. Though Venerable Shur has many elite disciples, I will trouble Sir to look after Gui, who. Ha ha ha, naturally. Gui, who will remove many obstacles for us. He just cleared one elite position. We're all on the same side here and of course should help each other. Venerable Shur's eyes shined. Grand Elder nodded. Not ganging up in demon scheming sect did not mean just the elders and venerables couldn't skim the profits, but even their disciples would have an untimely end, the same way the promising future of elites found their demise at Gui, who and others' hands. Going by the current trend, only these three were hopeful of becoming elites and lavish in resources. Grinning, Venerable Shur could hardly wait to dip his fingers. I just can't believe Venerable Chi and Venerable Bai found so many allies to get those two criminals to return. With their strength, they're bound to take two spots. No other choice. Enviable talent exists everywhere. Decades ago, we were the ones to become elites, but those elders and venerables had no disciples to use and favored Venerable Chi and the others. They must be jumping in joy that they stole two spots from us. Second Elder mocked. The rest nodded. Venerable Shur warned. Are we just going to stand for this? Are we to let others take our bread? Why not incur public anger? We're no pushovers either. By removing those seeds we'd do it from the shadows. Even if those oldies find out, they'd have no proof. We'll make them pay for our loss. The others nodded, but Lu Su spoke. Master, I have a request. Speak. Sect leader has brought in a disciple, Zhuofan, from outside and placed him in the labor office. I ask the honored master to investigate him. Lu Su looked Venerable Shur right in the eye. Venerable Shur had never seen his disciple show such a calm expression, with so much eagerness too. Isn't he just a laborer? What's the problem? It's grave, peculiar and convoluted. Lu Su cupped his hands. He has just joined the sect and was sent to the labor office without any crimes. Even though the sect leader has brought him, they've never met. And finally, his outrageous power doesn't fit his 7th layer of profound heaven cultivation. So much so that not even junior sister Mayor could beat him. Master, something stinks here. Venerable Shur's brow was locked in a frown. It is indeed peculiar, and such strangeness is bound to hide something deeper. It must be sect leader's plan. Venerable Shur, won't sect leader come for us if we interfere? We have been a bit brash over the past decades after all. Grand Elder worried. Venerable Shur sank into his thoughts before coming to a decision. Sect leader's methods are cruel and cunning. He can't come at us in the open and can only play some tricks. Letting his plan come to fruition will threaten our future. Humph, the first to strike has initiative. No matter how crucial that brat is to sect leaders' plans, getting rid of him will solve everything. You want to handle him? Grand Elder cried, but who should we send? Looking at the others, Venerable Shur said, based on Lu Su's words, the kid is an anomaly, stronger than what his cultivation dictates. Even Gu-who will fail. That will give the sect leader an excuse to blow this out of proportions. By going myself, I'll finish it in one blow with none the wiser. You want to do it yourself? Grand Elder waved in panic, out of the question. The rules state no elder or venerable can touch a disciple, not even a laborer. Even when picking up materials we have to wait for the right time. But now that the Azura Circle is in effect, none of us can touch the labor office at all. Failure means ruining everything. Venerable Shur dismissed his worry. It all comes down to getting some dirt on us. He won't get squat if I don't leave it. Or do you think a kid not even in Radiant stage can do that? Hiding isn't among the sect rules. Humph, Lu Su, where is he? Master, he is in the cemetery. With a moonless night and fierce winds, it's the most secluded location. Venerable Shur made a sign, look after my body while I go. A shadow flew from his body and shot away in Zhuofan's direction. The rest remained to watch over the vessel. An hour later, a shadow whistled into the cemetery in search of Zhuofan. Where the hell is that brat hiding? Venerable Shur's eyes shone like the sun in search of his target as he flew around in soul form. He picked up something and by following its trace, he found something rippling. The punk has even set up a barrier. A shame everything is moot beneath ethereal stage. I'm going to take your head. Venerable Shur charged right in, but before he could enter, something slammed into him and knocked him away, crying out inside. Venerable Shur sensed something oddly familiar about that gray mist that had hit him, and he ran without a moment to lose. The gray mist chose to let him go, looking back at the barrier, before vanishing. Silence reigned once again, with Zhuofan oblivious to his near brush with death. Venerable Shur's soul got back in his meat suit, and his first reaction was to bleed out. Venerable Shur, what happened? Grand Elder was restless. The others were the same. What could make an ethereal stage expert suffer such a heavy wound? Venerable Shur stammered, it's High Venerable. Say what? Everyone was speechless. The punk has High Venerable acting as his bodyguard? Who the hell is he? Chapter 549, Inner Sect Competition. Chapter 549, Inner Sect Competition. The eerie silence gnawed at their shocked minds. Demon Scheming Sect's #1 expert, High Venerable, was a bodyguard. Who on earth is that punk? Grand Elder said, Venerable Shur, are you sure it's him? No mistake. No matter how mysterious High Venerable is around the sect, with most only seeing his soul form, but that aura and power are without a doubt from High Venerable. Does that mean the High Venerable knows everything? Grand Elder sighed. Venerable Shur frowned, not sure. High Venerable stopped me before I could get to the kid. It felt more like he didn't want to fall out with me, and only warn me. That's the only reason I'm still alive. Everyone pondered. True. Does that mean the High Venerable wants to keep the sect from plunging into chaos? Grand Elder mulled. Venerable Shur said, I think so as well. No matter how strong High Venerable is, we aren't pushovers either. Taking us out will have the inner and elite disciples flip, while the other elders and venerables will use this opportunity to get their own disciples to climb rank. The sect will be in a mess. High Venerable has always cared about just cause and will never let that happen. All we have to do is not push him. Master, does that mean we cannot kill the kid? Lu Su was apprehensive. Venerable Shur rolled his eyes and pointed at himself. Isn't it obvious from my state? Don't touch the kid. I'll be probing sect leader in the meantime and figure out who he is and why is High Venerable so fixated on him. Lu Su frowned. No matter how much of an anomaly Zhuofan is, we can't get to him now. After further deliberations, they reached an accord. No one was to make a scene, especially move against Zhuofan before the inner competition, lest they provoke Xiaoyue and High Venerable at dawn. They disbanded just as they received notice that the sect leader had called a meeting of elders and venerables there. They heard Xiaoyue pardoning Kuei Lang and Yu Ling and reinstating them as inner disciples. Venerable Qi and Venerable Bai were wild with joy, their hopes rekindled with promising disciples for elite positions. They had even banded together with other fellow elders and venerables to petition their case, yet sect leader announced it on his own accord, and just before the big inter-sect competition, a last-ditch effort for these oldies to grab some profits. Venerable Shi's faction refrained from fighting and handed over the 2 spots with modesty and grace. On and off, Venerable Shi made some remarks about Zhuofan to test the waters, but Xiaoyue didn't rise to the occasion with Kuei Lang and Yu Ling back in the inner sect and him coming out empty in regards to Zhuofan's matter. This lofty venerable sulked out of the sect leader hall. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were reinstated and worked hard for the inner competition 3 months later, as did the other disciples. Everyone was giving their all and grasping even the smallest chance of becoming an elite. The cultivation trend was in vogue in the sect, which made these months fly by without an incident. On a 10-meter-tall stand, the elders watched the competition with a cold eye. On the highest seat was Xiaoyue. His chest was out, his head high, like a true sect leader. On his left were the venerables, starting with Venerable Shi, while on his right he had Grand Elder and other elders. The new elders were not worth mentioning. The audience was packed, with outer disciples enjoying the bustle and learning what to look for when they become inner disciples. All were buzzing and commenting, waiting for the sect leader to start the competition. Every disciple yearned. A cruel battlefield, ha ha ha. It seems High Venerable isn't around to join us. Venerable Shi commented next to Xiaoyue. Xiaoyue merely glanced over. Venerable Shi was the second venerable. In High Venerable's absence, he had the right to stick closer. Xiaoyue didn't let his derision show. High Venerable enjoys peace. The inner competition isn't so great to make him come, even less than the outer competition. I wouldn't be here either if I didn't need to. Venerable Shi's beard shook in anger. Xiaoyue jabbed him, knowing that he had rigged the inner competition. He gave a roundabout criticism, leaving him speechless. All because they had full control of the spots. 3 of those were taken by their disciples, Gui Hu, Lu Su and Hu Meier. The rest were thrown to the other elders and venerables to appease them, i.e. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling. As for the rest of the disciples, none had the strength to take them, or they'd be snuffed out if they tried. The inner sect competition had devolved into a mere formality with time. Sect leader, we aren't so selfish not to care about others. Grand Elder didn't catch on to Xiaoyue's mockery and smiled. Xiaoyue frowned, seething in hatred. Him and Venerable Shi were in cahoots, and hard to counter. A shame that High Venerable only cared about Dao and left Venerable Shi room to seize power. Or with the venerables and elders keeping each other in check, this never would have happened. Even if High Venerable returned, seizing control couldn't be harder. It left the only glimmer of hope shining down on Zhuofan, the anomaly. To break this corruption, Xiaoyue sighed, not finding Zhuofan down below, and shook his head. No more waiting. I just hope he shows up in time. Begin. Xiaoyue flicked his sleeve. The judging elders bowed to the sect leader and the rest, before shouting, "Let the inner sect competition begin." The disciples all hollered. The judges took a ribbon and read the names on it. The fighting started with the arrival of the contestants, while the audience grew livelier. None, however, noticed 3 shadows 1,000 meters away, sitting on a tree. Ha ha ha, another boring competition. At this rate, the elites are nothing but average, with the promising disciples left for dead in the inner sect. One laughed. The other sighed. Such is the rot festering inside our sect. It makes Wuyue's actions so dull. What's the point of rewatching the same thing over and over again? If it were me, I'd explode by now. Looking at it now, I think not having a sect leader is still a blessing in disguise. Ha ha ha, true, our luck is great. Reminds me of that double dragon gathering, when only the 4 of us survived after those rich boys killed the rest. Our luck is practically godlike, weaving the same cloth that ruined us then." The third's laughter ended in rage. The first person sighed. "Yeah, some elites are still excellent. Yeah, crazy good, but who'll then lead the Double Dragon gathering team? Who the hell cares how great and mighty one is, even the best across the lands, when you can't work together? What can they possibly achieve?" The third voice ranted. The second shook his head. The first looked at the second. "By the way, we were brought some tough guy from Tianyu, right? How is he?" "Don't remind me. I know of Tianyu's regent estate, plagued by narcissistic tendencies. Providence this, Providence that, annoying up to here. I don't feel like seeing him." The third shot it down. The other 2 shrugged. Not that they knew the one to come to the demon scheming sect was not Huangpu Qingtian but Zhuofan, a demon like no other. Meanwhile, in the cemetery, a lovely figure came out of the black wind array, her eyes flashing with a piercing gaze. Zhuofan nodded and handed over a vial. "Hurry and take it, then complete your task." Chapter 550, Brutality. Chapter 550, Brutality. Crack! With a kaboom, a thin man spun out of the ring and spat blood on his way out. His adversary was tall and sturdy, ruthless and cruel, the reinstated Kuei Lang. The 8th match in the 3rd ring goes to Kuei Lang. The judge pointed at him. The audience was abuzz. "See that? In just 1 strike senior brother Lin Feng lost, despite having the same cultivation of 4th layer of radiant stage. Not even decades in the labor office held Kuei Lang back. It's only natural. Who could hold his own against Black Yama back then anyway? With his appearance, an elite spot might be taken. The chances are high. But senior brother Lin Feng worked so hard these past years, yet nothing came of it. No one expected an old fiend to make a comeback. They sighed at the unconscious Lin Feng being taken away. Others lamented his poor luck. Just when he was soaring through the rounds, this nemesis knocked him down to earth. The sighs were short-lived though, stunned by the cries coming from another ring. Yu Ling eyed a bloody figure with cold and merciless eyes like he wasn't even human, but an object. The 7th match on the 4th ring goes to Yu Ling. The judge shouted the result. Everyone shook their heads. Their senior brothers were out of luck in this competition. With the already scarce spots, 2 monsters had returned and cut their chances at victory. As for the other 3. 3 shouts came in succession. The 6th match on the 9th ring goes to Lu Su. The 7th match on the 8th ring goes to Hu Meier. The 13th match on the 1st ring goes to Guei Hu. The audience twitched, then shrugged. They should have known the ones to take the elite spots would be those 5. The rest were just extras to make them look good while doing it. Everyone turned to the first stage and looked at the 13 cold corpses lying there due to the insidious hand of head senior brother Guei, who he was too fast and too brutal, killing them in a flash every time. Just as one corpse hit the ground, thrown from the ring, another was already falling, just like a murder machine. H-head senior brother, I forfeit. A lanky guy in the 3rd layer of radiant stage shook to the core at Guei Hu's savage look. He gave up even before going up there. The judge eyed him coldly. The 14th match. Crack! The sound echoed in everyone's ears, resulting in the lanky guy opening his eyes wide before collapsing on the ground as blood flowed from his forehead. Guei Hu ended him in 1 palm strike. SSS. Everyone gasped, their hearts shivering from the horror. Why kill him when he forfeited? We are demonic cultivators, true, we are cruel, also true, but at the very least we're also fellow disciples. The only deaths in this competition came from Guei Hu, out for blood. The judge looked irked. He didn't kill on the stage, but outside of it and after the opponent had quit. I was going to declare the result and you killed him under my nose? Guei Hu turned his cold gaze at him. He shouldn't have entered. Shove it. How's he supposed to know your savage ass will be waiting for him in the ring? The judge breathed in to soothe the incoming anger. The 14th match on the 1st ring goes to Guei Hu. Next. We forfeit, shouts came from below as they fled in fear. The judge felt for them. No one wished for death. He declared, "The final winner of the first ring, Gue Hu!" Roar! The audience cheered, though Gue Hu had the same dead look in his eyes as he left the ring. The other ring's competitors looked over and shivered. After an hour, each ring had a winner. Lu Su, Hu Meier, Yu Ling and Kuei Lang were the obvious ones, while the rest had a much harder time grasping victory. They were spent in body and mind, knowing they were going to lose in the fights that came. Only 5 may become elites. Come, draw your opponent, but only the strongest 5 may move on. An elder presented a box. The 5 seeds of the competition were indifferent, while the others were bitter. They were far from being their match, but still braved through. A handsome man sighed over to the box and gave the ticket to the elder. "Elder, it's the 5th ring." The elder nodded, then came a rough hand plunging into the box, soon revealing a creepy smile. He, what a coincidence, I'm in 5th ring as well." Gue Hu landed his bloodthirsty eyes on the first man. Shivering with shock, the man waved his hands. "H-head senior brother, I could dash." Crack! The guy was down from a single slap from Gue Hu. Everyone's hearts sank, their eyes twitching. Gue Hu is a cruel beast. The elder frowned. "The match hasn't started. What's the point? It'll end the same way anyway." Gue Hu cackled. The elder sighed. The strong were respected in a demonic sect, and Gue Hu was the strongest disciple. He couldn't say anything when the guy could back up his attitude. Besides, as the Grand Elder's disciple, he had all the reason to flaunt his airs. "Rest of you, continue." The elder gave the box to the next one. The other 4 drew their spot, while the extras shivered from Gue Hu's display as they reached inside. 4 crying out loud, "The inner competition is a death sentence. I thought only the labor office's Azura circle was a killer." Their pained faces shuffled the contents of the box, hesitating on and on before finally drawing the 4th ring versus Hu Meier. A pale disciple with slumped shoulders gave the paper to the elder, who announced, but then the guy's eyes lit up as he saw Hu Meier's delectable curves. His heart was blooming, his soul about to fly out in happiness. "Oh, it's senior sister Meier. I'm not dreaming, am I? Everyone talks about her smooth skin, how even dying is worth it at this dainty flower's hands. Since I'm going to lose, at least senior sister Meier will be the one to deliver the blow." He gawked at Hu Meier, who was giving him coy looks. "Junior brother, my body is frail, please be lenient." Of course, the guy bobbed his head, drooling as his heart thumped harder. Everyone was jealous. What dumb luck on this punk to meet her. "Leave something for us, aren't we all friends?" While Kuei Lang's face was heavy and serious, only the elders sneered. "Idiots, you won't get anywhere with such poor self-control." Chapter 551, Challenge. Chapter 551, Challenge. "Senior brother Kuei Lang, please." With everyone getting their numbers, one tall guy faced Kuei Lang. In front of this demon of days long past, the guy turned meek, bowing on the spot in hope of leaving this ring with his life. As he bowed there, the lowest he could, Kuei Lang came kicking, snapping countless bones like twigs while the victim shot for the ground and left behind a crater. All the others saw was that guy spurting blood and slumping unconscious. Well shit, all of them are savages. None of them hold back at all. They gasped in fear as they watched Kuei Lang cursing. "Humph, once you're up here, it's either death or life." The others gulped at the cruelty. The other matches went down just the same, Lu Su and Yu Ling getting their win just as easily while their opponents had a ghastly exit. At least their lives were safe and they weren't crippled. They'd be back in shape in a year. Wiping their brow, the audience lamented. These geniuses are the essence of demonic cultivation, unhesitating. They're easier than Gue Hu, though not by much. Among the 5, senior sister Meier was somewhat compassionate at this thought. They turned to her match, where she swung her hips and batted her intoxicating eyes at her opponent. The guy was lost in those wonderful curves, those charming eyes, that sexy body. Humph, that fox is using charm again. Kuei Lang eyed her with bloodthirst while the audience watched on with jealousy. "Damn that punk, he's so freaking lucky!" The victim thought the same, sniffing Hu Mayor's aroma, bringing him into the ninth heaven. Hu Mayor giggled. Hi, junior brother, what are you waiting for? Come right away, senior sister. With a dumb look and lustful smile, the guy grabbed for her two most prominent features. Hu Mayor's smile turned cruel, and she said, Junior brother, where are you aiming with that? He, it's my special art cheese dash, a heart-piercing dragon claw. Senior sister, do be careful, ha. The guy eyed her like a wolf in heat, throwing himself at Hu Mayor's chesties. No good two-bit filthy lowlife. The audience cursed, in jealousy and envy. God damn it, why isn't it me up there? Hu Mayor's face changed tunes the instant that guy closed in, her eyes taking a darker and savage tone. Hu Mayor's dainty hand clawed the guy's throat out. The victim gurgled in his feeble attempts to breathe, even as the lust remained in his eyes and his smile remained ever so vulgar. Hu Mayor drew closer and sucked the guy's yang out. Everyone watched in shock. She's even more vicious, stealing his essence. The victim groaned in pain, twisting but in vain. He was growing weaker by the second, and soon his yuan qi scattered. He slumped on the ground, without a breath and life. All that remained was a lost look in his eyes. Loosing one's mind to charm would only result in one ending: death at the hands of the fairer sex. Bang. Hu Mayor flicked the mummified corpse away and walked off the ring. Hu Mayor dabbed her lips with a hanky and giggled at the crowd. But no one bought it anymore. Looking at her in fear, it dawned on them what it meant to be burned by a woman's scorn. Beneath that intoxicating look, she is hiding a deadly venom. Letting out a breath, they looked at the dried husk with pity instead of envy. No matter how deserving it is to die under a flow, who the hell would want that? If it came to choose between life and a hot number, most of those true characters would choose the first option hands down. When faced with this choice, all anyone would ever care about was their lives. Moreover, before reaching success, it would be a darn shame ending up killed from lust. Everyone had endless regret and remorse for the corpse. The fourth ring's winner, Hu Mayor. The judge announced, which drew a close to the elite spots candidates, just as planned. Though Xie Wuyue didn't like it anymore. Xie Wuyue eyed Hu Mayor. Venerable Sure, Grand Elder, I won't speak about the rest, but how could even she become an elite with just charm? The elites are crucial this time for the Double Dragon gathering. The participants there are all known figures, with staunch wills and high cultivations. How can they fall for something as simple as charm? It's not worthy for a charm user to become an elite. Ha, sect leader isn't exactly right. Venerable Sure shook his head. Our demonic sect is based on strength, with the winner taking everything. Since Hu Mayor won, she has earned her spot among elites. Changing the rules will earn everyone's ire. Then again, if there's a sixth person beating her, it's also acceptable. Venerable Sure revealed a nasty grin. With Grand Elder and Second Elder nodding, only Xie Wuyue felt like cursing to high heaven. God damn it, with you fools killing everyone worthy, how will there be a sixth challenger? Oh wait, didn't Zhuo Fan say he'll come slapping? What's taking that punk so long? Xie Wuyue looked around for his figure. Meanwhile, the three shadows in the tree 1,000 meters off sneered at the outcome, while being regretful and sorrowful. Humph, see? These bastards are crossing the line. Are they that damn short of talents to let a charmer become an elite? Her eye batting would be worth a damn in the Double Dragon gathering, and we'll end up ridiculed. One shadow snapped, the others nodded. With the elite's tempers and cultivation, it's unique to have her charm among them. Raising her as our elite will be for nothing. These old-timers only care about using their disciples to steal the sect's resources. Be that as it may, I find Gue Hu quite capable, as is Kue Lang. A shadow pointed out, the others nodded. Even the most average batch has some talent. At least this time we have something to work with, unlike before. The three sighed bitterly. Gue Hu, Lu Su, Kue Lang, Yu Ling and Hu Mayor, sect leader, has some words for you. An elder shouted for the five to approach. The audience watched excitedly. What came next was the official declaration from the sect leader that these fives were elites, granted the highest honor. The least they would be in the future was elders, men among men. Greetings, sect leader. The five bowed. Siawiyue hid a sneer as he fulfilled his duty. Congratulations, from now on you will be Elidish. Hold it! As space warped on the ring, a guy and a girl appeared. The familiar voice continued, sorry, it seems you five still have a challenger left. Chapter 552. Double Play. Chapter 552. Double Play. Who's there? Venerable Shur barked in annoyance because of the sudden appearance of the interlopers. Not even the Venerables, ethereal stage experts, picked up on their arrival. How could this happen? Venerable Shur soon found a young man with white hair and an attitude to boot, holding a broom over his shoulder. As if to say, come get your spanking. His insufferable arrogance had Venerable Shur crawling up the walls. He had never met another person more deserving of a beating than this punk. The other arrival was an 18-years-old girl, her lovely looks ruined by the cold disposition and the icy air around her. Even as an ethereal stage expert, his heart seized for a beat. These brats are up to something. While Siawiyue's face turned sinister, who are you to show up here? Outer disciple Yue. Greetings, sect leader. Yue was familiar with Demon Scheming Sect and its rules. Showing her respect, Siawiyue nodded, but Zhuofan still held that broom like a broadsword over his shoulder. 1 second, and the next second, he cupped his hands, his voice booming, I am Labor Zhuofan. Greetings, sect leader. Siawiyue's face twitched at Zhuofan's straight back. He was the picture of heroism, with not one submissive bone in his back. Not even in front of the sect leader. This brat, casualness is fine, but doing it in broad daylight, you're taunting my name. Humph, you must have had an easy time ruling on the outside that not even the labor office could curb your tendencies. Siawiyue grumbled inside, but he did need Zhuofan at the end of the day, so he overlooked his fallacies at Zhuofan's declaration. Everyone was stunned. Even Venerable Shur and Grand Elder, they eyed him with suspicion, looking for any clues. So he's the one sect leader brought. Let's see how great he really is. While the big shots had eyes only for Zhuofan, the five elite candidates watched. Yu Ling sensed the cold vibe coming from her baby sister and was left with a blank stare. How can she release such an icy aura? Just looking at her makes me shiver. What did Zhuofan do these past months? Yu Ling was perplexed by Yuer's aura. Kuei Lang was dumbfounded as well, but unlike Yu Ling, what had him stumped was the last growth, to the 9th layer of profound heaven stage, and that thick bloodthirst made even the great Black Yama feel threatened. What did Steward Zhua do to her? Even Ganger only gained a layer when he took the heaven-reaching pill. So how come this girl gained 3 layers instead in such a short time? Kuei Lang muttered incredulously. Humair heard him and gnashed her teeth at you. You impudent labor dare cause a scene at the inner sect competition? Venerable Shur roared and turned to Siawiyue. Sect leader, this man has breached the rules. Please describe his punishment. Siawiyue sneered inside. Venerable Shur knew Zhuofan was on his side, and now wanted to push him into punishing the kid to test him. If the Grand Second Venerable couldn't deal with a measly labor, was it sect leader's turn now? Always acting alone in other matters, yet he wants me to attend to such trifles. How disappointing. Siawiyue hid his annoyance and turned to the two. Zhuofan, what is a labor doing here? You better have a good explanation or you'll suffer for this transgression. Second Venerable's face twitched and the rest of the oldies rolled their eyes. Any demon scheming sect member worth his salt knew about sect leader's wild temper, yet he was tolerant towards this laborer for no reason? Even the oblivious oldies knew this laborer was on sect leader's team, which in turn sparked their interest. Zhuofan grinned, cupping his hands. Sect leader, I am but a laborer and have only come here to sweep. Yes, sweeping. Though it seems my timing is off, ha ha ha. Juefan paused for a moment before coming up with an apt excuse for interfering with the inner sect competition, no matter how absurd. Sweeping? What damn sweeping when so many of us are here? Venerable Shur berated. Lunacy, how can a laborer come to the inner sect competition? Speak, who told you to sweep here? Or else. The boss of course, told me to come here to sweep on the 23rd. Juefan's eyes spun around thinking of more white lies. He couldn't point fingers, or he'd only sink himself, and Siewiwe picked on his meaning, adding, today's 24th. Oh, gotcha. Sorry, but bye then. Juefan scampered off holding his broom. He ran like a little thief desperate to fence his goods. Venerable Shur was stumped. The kid Shur is dramatic, worthy of sect leader's patronage. No elder, venerable, or even sect leader said that he could leave, yet the punk ran off. Venerable Shur shouted, "Hold it right there. This is the demon scheming sect, not your backyard. I don't care who you are and who's protecting you, you will suffer for breaking the rules." Juefan stopped in his tracks. Venerable Shur grinned, finally getting somewhere. He bowed before Siewiwe with a cruel smile. Sect leader, laborers are forbidden to enter the outer and inner sect competitions. Please punish him. Venerable Shur taunted Siewiwe. He must have had a great plan in store for Juefan, and the sooner Venerable Shur dealt with him the better. Forcing Siewiwe's hand was the same as slapping him. Siewiwe was more than familiar with his intent, and turned to the rest. Who's the elder in charge of security? It is I, sect leader. A grizzled elder bowed. Crack. The next second he was flying, losing his life before he even hit the ground. Sect leader. Venerable Shur watched stunned. Siewiwe sneered. A laborer mistaking the day is normal, but letting him inside is the true offense. How many executives and elders in charge of security will escape, I wonder? Siewiwe's eyes flashed with bloodthirst over the victims, regardless if it was an excuse, but just being under his ruthless gaze felt like being watched by a viper. Siewiwe turned to Venerable Shur at last. Anything else? Everyone is beyond grateful for the sect leader's benevolence. I ask that you spare them. Venerable Shur gnashed his teeth with a bow. No matter how much resentment he carried in the deepest corners of his heart, he was clearly threatening other people's lives. To let Juefan go, or he'd soon have a dead pile growing. It would certainly strain the elders and Venerable's cooperation. Hatred had that kind of effect on people. And Siewiwe, I'll get you for this. Venerable Shur fumed. Siewiwe beamed at Juefan, who beamed back. Chapter 553, Shaking the Stage. Chapter 553, Shaking the Stage. Respected sect leader, esteemed elders, distinguished venerables, since you have no need of me, I shall take my leave. Juefan spoke and cupped his hands and bolted the same way he had done before, fearing for his life. Everyone snickered at this one-man show. No matter how he appeared on stage, he was just some nobody laborer and a village idiot. But then, recalling sect leader and those big-shot elders' reactions, getting scared was only natural. Siewiwe jeered, as well, not at Juefan's comical escape, but at his impeccable theatrics in shifting the elders' and venerables' attention away from him. The grand autocrat steward Jue played a tiny role just now, yet it was enough to piss someone off. As for the other oldies, they had a mocking smile. There's nothing going on between the sect leader and him. We're just too paranoid. No way would the sect leader care for a nobody. Only the true connoisseur of Juefan's boundless might knew it was just Juefan's way of laying low. When he jumped in for real, he would do it with a bang. Yuling and Kuei Lang smiled and shook their heads. Humair and Lu Su watched the comedy man run for his life with a dark face. It was then that a shout came and someone shot towards Juefan. I don't care who you aren't leaving the competition so easily. Kuei, whose eyes flashed with bloodthirst, going at Juefan with fists swinging. The pressure got so heavy, even the audience groaned. Kuei, who is a beast, not even letting a laborer off. Is he a natural-born killer? None of the audience noticed how under this heavy aura, Juefan showed no reaction. Gue, who grew excited having heard from Humair and Lu Su, Juefan was some fancy expert. He wanted to test him since all his fights for a long time had been dull in the inner sect. He was curious to test himself against Juefan, an unknown variable. The thrill of battle consumed his mind. He didn't give a flying hoot about anyone as he was crass to the venerables, and even sect leader, though no one quibbled about it. The oldies were too lofty to concern themselves with petty stuff, or at least wouldn't speak before sect leader did. Venerable Sure and Grand Elder squinted. All they had ever heard of Juefan was that he was some hidden variable. Gue, who was the best person to test him out. Siewiwe was at ease as well. Even though he was in the dark about Juefan's level, he trusted his potential as a bone-tempering cultivator. He fought the amazing Radiant Stage expert Huangpu Qintian to a draw. And now that he was in the 8th layer of Profound Heaven, he should have no issue with any Radiant Stage expert. As for Kuei Lang and the other three, they shook their heads at the brash Gue, who Kuei Lang and Yu Ling the most. They were more than clear about Juefan's power, having gotten handled like ants. Gue, who stood no chance whatsoever, he was charging to his death, while all Gue, who had on his mind was to test himself for a couple hundred rounds with Juefan. A shame he'd be utterly disappointed. Juefan's ears twitched and he turned his head to see the savage beast coming. Here I was minding my own business and you had to ruin everything. Screw off. Juefan used the broom with his right hand, glowing red. Gue, whose cackle came to a jarring halt as the incoming force left him shell-shocked. This can't be. Juefan just swung a broom, yet he had him pressured? How was he human? While others only felt a breeze, Gue, who got the brunt of the wind pressure, the one before him wasn't just blowing smoke, but unleashing a raging storm, an unrelenting force bearing down on him to crush his bones and rip him apart. Sweating, for the first time ever, Gue, who was scared but he bore through it, unleashing his Yuan Qi and making his palms release some gray light. Underworld fiend. Gue, who shouted as he slammed into the storm, but then his eyes were bloodshot and almost popping out of their sockets. Gue, who spurted blood, his feet planted in the pavement, but the storm pushed him down still. As the rocks beneath exploded outward, it followed with him, flying off the stage from the heavy winds, laying on the ground with his waist below the stage, just in time for the wind to go right past his nose. From the stage, all one could see was his legs, a warning to all that this laborer was a monster. The shock was so great everyone was in denial. A simple sweep of the broom had the top inner disciple lay flat on the ground without putting much of a resistance. Everyone was slack-jawed, watching Juefan still carrying the broom like nothing had happened. Who the hell is he? There's no way a laborer has such power. Venerable Shure's side shook on the inside. No amount of guesswork helped them prepare for what they had witnessed. At least not for Gue, whose inglorious defeat. Gue, who couldn't even touch him, the strongest inner disciple, was useless. The gap between the two was a world apart. The elders and venerables were speechless. All they could express was endless shock. Siewiwe was no different either. Despite being the one to recruit him, he and Juefan met 3 years ago. He had some guesses that he'd be strong after all that time, but not outrageously strong. He had no way of knowing about the transformation that followed after he left, or about the might of the Qilin arm. Seeing it for the first time impressed him greatly. Juefan's freakishness had him believe that getting this godlike creature into the sect was the best thing he had done, and more surprises were left to come. Paying that measly 9th-grade pill was all worth it. He had struck gold. As for the other 4 soon-to-be elites, they were lost for words. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling fared better, having been manhandled before, though clearly Juefan hardly tried back then. How can such a monster exist on this God's green earth? Humair and Lu Su had goony looks. Such power was unheard of even among elites. Juefan was so strong that it left them powerless and bitter, deprived of any options to deal with him. Gue, who slumped at the edge of the ring, pale and horrified for the first time ever. He felt this was the closest he'd been to death. He never thought a peer of his could ever treat him like an ant, and made him feel the taste of demise. Xuefan's calm was too unnerving. He felt like he was facing a venerable, and not some laborer. He was no threat to Xuefan. Chapter 554 Elites Fight. Chapter 554 Elites Fight. The three shadows 1,000 meters away were lost for words. They thought Gue, who was the best this inner competition had to offer, the only one worthy of rearing. Only to find their promising seed smacked away like nothing by an even more savage one. These three lamented about the Sect's rot, and now felt hope blossom like never before. We have to have him as an elite. One shadow drooled excited. Speaking of, who is he? One of our Sect's disciples? Why haven't we heard of him before? Another shadow pondered. Looking like a laborer, it's only normal that we missed him. Laborer? Throwing such a genius in the labor office, those rotten bags of bones must want to ruin the demon scheming sect. The third said enraged, then overcame with glee again. Ha ha ha, but now that we have our seed, it won't matter at all. We'll ask Wuyue to put him among the elites tomorrow. Another shadow nodded, but the second one sighed. Don't forget, no laborer can become an elite, it's the rule. Not even the sect leader can change it. How is this a violation? Elites can come from anywhere. Just how high Venerable came from the labor office. Why can't we have him? The third shadow rebuked. The other two shook their heads. This rule has been in effect for ages, just to defend the purity of elites. Since laborers are either criminals or wastes, they are tainted. Especially those wastes, having been cast out, have no promise. No matter how many pills are dumped into them or how much they toil, their core will never recover, thus they are barred from becoming elites. I hate this rule the most. They let those with natural flaws in, but are not willing to mend the rest. The demonic cultivation is based on strength, period. What do your 18 generations of ancestors have to do with it? The third shadow was annoyed. The other two were just as pained. If the base is shaky, it affects the future. The sect had put out this rule in consideration for the sect's future. But to see it turn into a burden instead, a cruel irony. The labor office is all about dumping the loser disciples. The moment one enters it, his future is shot. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang were the only ones in luck, recovering through great achievement. But there are still plenty of outstanding disciples stuck in there, left to rot. The third shadow sighed. The other two echoed his sentiment. Then the third shadow perked up. No, the elites as they are can't join the Double Dragon gathering. This kid must become an elite no matter what, even if we get the entire sect against us. The other two agreed with conviction. Meanwhile, on the ring, Xuefan's Gale had left it as a mess. Xie Wuyue laughed after collecting himself. A true laborer indeed, sweeping out all the dirt. Venerable Shi and company twitched blatant mockery. To hell with sweeping dirt when Xuefan just threw Gue, who out. Xie Wuyue was obviously saying Gue, who, an elite candidate, was nothing but dirt waiting to be thrown out. He was having a field day smacking the oldies around. But since Xie Wuyue minced his words, they had no comeback, left to stew in resentment. Thank you, sect leader. Anything else you need cleaning? Xuefan cupped his hands. Humair and Lu Su were wound up tighter than a violin, taking slow steps back. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling mocked them. Xie Wuyue sneered at their display. No need. You are good at sweeping, but you got the wrong day. It's better if you go back. Xuefan nodded and left with the broom on his shoulder. His vibe was no longer as carefree since he already stuck his neck out. There was no point in playing the schmuck. The audience was filled with mixed emotions of shock, respect, doubt, wonder. Gue, who crawled back on stage, and all he had for Xuefan was fear. That simple exchange told him all he needed to know about the man. Humair and Lu Su sighed. No one in the audience got anything from Xie Wuyue and Xuefan's coded dialogue, but they did. If the sect leader had agreed just now to more sweeping, they'd be next. Thank God sect leader is apprehensive about the second venerable and the others. But their self-consolation was shot out the window with Xie Wuyue's next words. Outer disciple you are, Zhuofan came here to sweep, but what about you? Sect leader, I am dissatisfied with the results of the inter-sect competition and wish to challenge the winner. Yuer bowed and replied how Zhuofan had taught her Yu Ling and Kuei Lang were filled with worry. How dare an outer disciple interfere with inter-sect competition? Venerable Shi roared any other time, he wouldn't give a rat's ass, since it would be their funeral. But since Zhuofan, sect leader's man, brought this girl along, it ought to be within sect leader's plan. He just had to block it, not that Xie Wuyue would let it happen. Xie Wuyue dissed him. Venerable Shi, the demon scheming sect holds strength and respect, with none of its members fearing challenges. It is a quality even more prevalent among future elites. No coward is worthy of being an elite of my sect. Venerable Shi's beard shook, but then his eyes turned to young Miss with a warning. Miss, think this through. The rules make it so that no inner disciple can touch an outer one and no outer disciple can pick on laborers. But reaching above your station will be a death sentence. Not even the sect leader can help you. Venerable Shi was obviously intimidating Yuer, even if it was an embellished truth. No matter who she was, once the challenge was on and she was in danger, sect leader couldn't do squat. Be good and walk away now before you get hurt or lose your head. Yu Ling watched her tense, but Yuer smiled. Thank you, Venerable Shi, for the reminder, but I've made my decision. Ha ha ha, what boldness! Xie Wuyue cut off Venerable Shi's further attempts. Yuer, who is it you want to fight? None of these elites are pushovers. Think long and hard now, for your sake. Yuer's smile widened and she pointed at Hu Mayor. Senior Sister Mayor, please don't mind if I ask you to give up your spot. Her heart jumped from the tension. Yuer knew Zhuofan planned for her to fight Hu Mayor, but doing it for real still had her worried. Even after all that training, Hu Mayor was in the third layer of Radiant stage, while she was at peak Profound Heaven stage. The gap was huge. Hu Mayor was lost for a moment before mocking her. Ha ha ha, my care for you hasn't been in vain. I've always looked out for you, but don't think for a second that my kindness is my weakness. Hu Mayor released her power. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling cried out. Fourth layer? The fox advanced. Chapter 555. Result of Training. Chapter 555. Result of Training. With the fox being in the fourth layer, their gap had only widened. It was now worlds apart. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang were quite worried. Xie Wuyue frowned, not knowing how to gauge her after being under Zhuofan's tutelage. Reason dictated that with Profound Heaven versus Radiant stage and 5 layers of difference on top, losing was a foregone conclusion. Haha, Yuer, you must have a death wish, so don't come crying to me at the end. Hu Mayor mocked. Yu Ling balled her fists, her eyes filled with anger, yet the tough attitude of the fox had no effect on Yuer, replying with a smirk and holding a cold blade. 8th grade demonic treasure. Everyone jerked, even the oldies gasped. Such a high-grade demonic treasure wasn't found even in their hands, yet a no-name girl from the outer sect had one. And observing the blade's style, both soft and a perfect harmony between yin and yang, it was clearly the work of a grandmaster. This was no ordinary 8th grade weapon. Even the sect leader's eyebrows rose with an unhealthy interest. So that's the basis of her confidence. This weapon would make it easier to bridge the cultivation gap, although the kid sure is wealthy to hand over such a fortune to this girl. I sure as hell couldn't. Xie Wuyue gasped, smiling inside. No way in hell did this girl get her hands on such a demonic treasure without Zhuofan giving it to her. For, crying out loud, where did the kid get all this dough from? I had to buy him with a 9th grade pill, yet now he shows up with an 8th grade demonic treasure? He's no beggar, but a moneybags. A trip is in order to check and see how deep are his pockets, hee. Xie Wuyue calculated. Hu Mayor's brow twitched looking at the blade. Humph, you got a bigger toy and it got to your head. But it all depends on the wielder to unleash its power. I was the one who taught you demon-devouring saber, and I've guided your training all your life. I know everything you can do like the back of my hand. You think an 8th grade demonic treasure can change that? Ha ha ha, that's rich. Oh really? Yuer's grin turned sinister, her icy aura focusing on the blade. The temperature plunged on the ring so fast, some disciples started shivering from the cold. It felt like entering a glacier cave, about to freeze to death. Humair frowned in shock. What power is this? A slash was Yuer's answer with a bang. The ring was bisected, with the scar releasing endless gray and icy energy as the pavement was corroded. Such pure fiendish een. Xie praised. How did Zhuofan even train her to enhance her een to such a degree? Even without the demonic treasure, their gap will be cut down in size. Contrary to popular belief, cultivation wasn't everything. One had to consider the meridians, how wide and tough they were to allow the purest Yuan Qi to pass through, and the girl's Yuan Qi was so pure that not even some elders could contest. It caught the elders and venerables by surprise while Yu Ling was stunned. Just what did Zhuofan do to her in those months? She's like a completely different person. All they knew was that Zhuofan was a freak, no question about it. Turning Yuer into a freak as well proved it. Junior sister, be careful. Lu Su eyed the eerie blade and tensed at the vibes it gave off. Humair nodded, her features hardening. She couldn't afford to look down on the girl. She's no meek girl, but a tiger threatening my life. But I won't let her. Humair burst with bloodthirst as a ripple shot for Yuer. It's a soul attack, Yuer. Yu Ling panicked. Yuer's profound heaven cultivation's weakness was soul. And an attack like that would leave her disoriented, if not in a critical state. Yuer's response was a cold smile. Humair, did you really think I'd challenge a radiant stage expert without some countermeasures to my weakness? The ripple slammed into something just before reaching her, turning into an azure glow. Now coming back for Humair. Boom! Humair was caught off guard, feeling like her head was about to explode, as if her mind was cooked from the inside. She wailed for a whole 15 minutes, but from her ashen complexion, clearly her soul was in a sorry state. Everyone was speechless. Didn't she just use a soul attack on Yuer? How is it that she's the one on the receiving end? What just happened? They kept looking from one to another. Yuer smiled, showing an azure bead. That's 9th grade spiritual weapon, anchoring soul bead. Xie cried. The oldies echoed his reaction. It was common knowledge that the mystical heaven sect had the anchoring soul bead, the only one in existence. So what's it doing in the hands of this girl? All of the old guys were flabbergasted. Yuer smiled. The refining of this item has the anchoring soul bead as its core, but they can't be compared. Anchoring soul bead can only defend one's soul, while this bead contains powerful soul flames. At an enemy's soul attack, it will lash out, returning an attack stronger than before. Oh, it's just an anchoring soul bead ripoff. The oldies bobbed their heads like little wise men as their greed for her bauble bubbled inside. That's some good stuff right there. What is it doing in the hands of an ignorant outer disciple? What a waste. If it were mine. All eyes glittered. Damn you, that strength isn't yours. Fight me for real if you dare. Humair gnashed her teeth. Yuer deflected. They're a part of my strength though. Grumblers will always pick fault. In a demonic sect, the end justifies the means. Winning is everything and there's nothing that can change it. Besides, you're a 4th layer of radiant stage here, and want me to throw away my demonic treasures? You've got some nerve. Why you? Humair's eyes were bloodshot. Curse you, skank, since when did you get so talkative? Her voice drowned as Yuer recalled some words. When fighting someone, use any dirty trick in the book. Unnerving them with words is just another way of winning. You need to change that cold attitude of yours. It was Zhuofan's pearl of wisdom, and from Humair's reactions, it only validated his argument. Yuer smiled, mocking. Oh, senior sister Mayor, you were both kind and mean to me. With your soul in pain, it'll be hard to avoid this slash. It will cleanse our grudge. Yuer raised her blade as the een focused on it. Humair's eyes shone. Chapter 556, Deceit. Chapter 556, Deceit. Who? The biting winds flooded the air. Yuer's blade stabbed at the sky, gathering all the een around into a single blow. A gloom set in, and the sky darkened as the temperature dropped. The space itself trembled with the coldness. The elders and venerables shuddered inside. This girl's yuan qi purity is insane. Just a peak profound heaven cultivator, yet with the power of a fourth layer of radiant stage. Not even Humair could beat that. Wounded as she was ashamed such a great move had a glaring weakness. The oldies sighed. The outcome was clear. Xie Wuyue squinted, feeling something was off. A shame for all those items to be wasted on a greenhorn. Humair's eyes flashed, waiting for her to finish working up to her peak. Only acting just as the blade was about to drop. Ha ha ha. Let senior sister teach you one simple truth. Accuracy is more important than strength. It doesn't matter how tough you are if you can't hit anything. Humair mocked, turning into dozens of images, coming upon Yuer from everywhere. Low profound ranked movement art, fox phantom trail. Yuer's brow shook, looking around for her target yet not finding her. Yuling was worried. Yuer, stop and defend. Hi, it's a bit late for that. Humair giggled, full of herself. She appeared in Yuer's face and struck with a red claw at her waist. Yuer simply stared at her. Too late to defend. Yuling's heart was in her throat, while the oldie sighed at the outcome. The girl has everything, advantage and gear, but if there's one thing she lacks is experience. Humair's sharp claw came along with her stuck-up smile. Girlie, one last lesson, in a life-and-death battle, everyone pays attention to offense and defense. With you focusing all your yuan qi on attacking me, it left you wide open for my attack. Time for you to get your just desserts. You will die for challenging me. Humair's claw inched closer to Yuer. Under the size of the audience, Yuer calmed down and sported a vague smile crack. Humair's deviant claw struck something hard and very much solid. Humair cried out, but had no time to panic as Yuer shone golden and blinded the audience roar. A golden dragon gushed out and flicked its tail, capturing Humair's claw. When the glow ebbed, the audience stared in shock, their eyes popping. What is that? One disciple pointed at Yuer. Only some oldies gulped at the resplendent golden glow. Well shit, it's an 8th grade defensive demonic treasure. It sure was. Yuer came packing a golden armor with a golden dragon wiggling all over it, stopping Humair's fine dainty hand from marring this work of art. Xie Wuyue's face twitched. She focused on attacking on purpose, because she had the bead for soul defense and armor for her body as well. For God's sake, she's just an outer disciple. This is too much, Zhuofan. With his endless list of items, I'm better off just hitting him and he'd drop something. Xie Wuyue had come to a decision. Venerable Shi's side were sporting long faces. Oh, come on, moneybags much? An 8th grade demonic treasure for attack we can take, but 2 more defensive ones, and even superior ones at that? That's just plain cheating. You can challenge elites with that setup. Venerable Shi and company sighed. What the hell? Humair panicked, unable to extricate her dainty hand. Yuer jeered. Sister Mayor, you fell for it. Any strike on the 8th grade demonic treasure dragon locking armor will hold the attacker in place. Let's see you run now. Why, you did it on purpose to draw me in. Humair's eyes shook, watching Yuer's sharp eyes. Yuer grinned. Oh, sister, how can you forget the simple truth that if you give up in a challenge, you'd be safe? It would give your master an excuse to save you. The only way to kill you is with a definitive strike, but that's hardly possible at my level, which leaves trickery as the only option. Humair was incredulous. Since when did you develop a mean streak? Just now. Yuer grinned and let her blade fall on the defenseless Humair. High profound ranked martial art, black wind blade. And no. With the eerie blade reflecting in her eyes, Humair cried out her denial, but the blade cut off not only her voice but her life as well. Boom. The ring shook as cracks spread all over it, As Humair lay splayed in two, all that was left was a deep fear etched in those charming eyes. Gue, who shuddered and sighed. Lu Su watched the show. Pale and overwhelmed, Humair died. But this blade's power was not something even he could take. He felt overcome with sadness at her death. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were floored by this unbelievable outcome. Surprised by Yuer's progress, the fox got done in one strike. Venerable Shur and the elders were brooding. They had planned on using the elites as a way to skim the sect, only to find one of their choices was laying dead, and a disciple's failure translated into the master's failure. Looking at Humair's wide-open stare, Xie Wuyue laughed. The challenge has come to an end, with a great inner disciple done in by a single strike of an outer disciple. She's not worthy of being an elite. It only proves that this inner disciple batch is subpar. Sect leader was not about to miss this chance to mock the others. Venerable Shur bowed. Sect leader, Humair's death came from her poor skills. It does not speak for the rest. The other disciples are still viable for being elite. Shameful. Do you want to go to the Double Dragon gathering with such disgraceful elites? Just take the top disciple and that's it? Xie Wuyue snorted. With the inner disciple's inadequacy more than visible, this inner competition's result is now void. We will be holding another one in 3 months. Sect leader. Enough, what I want are elites, not paper mascots. Xie Wuyue cut Venerable Shur off. His decision final. Venerable Shur had no choice but to nod. Today's results proved that the sect leader was on the move, using the disciples' competition as a way to strike at the old man's greed. Humair's was simply a victim to him, of no importance at all. Now all this old man cared about was what would sect leader cook for the competition 3 months from now. So Venerable Shur shouted at Yuer, outer disciple Yuer, since you've defeated Humair, you are now in the inner sect. Who is to be your master? Speak. Which elder or venerable will take her? Chapter 557. Back to Labor Office. Chapter 557. Back to Labor Office. The elders and venerables gazed upon Yuer with newfound interest. She ain't half bad, a good promising elite seed. Besides, it's only natural that the master gets to safekeep his disciples' gear, no? Ha ha ha, she is a fine disciple and I haven't seen someone like her in years. Since no one wants her, I'll be taking her. A grizzled old man eyed Yuer. Or was it her items? Who knows? But then a creepy voice shouted, Elder Yang, don't go hogging everything. I find the girl quite pleasing, she'll be under me. Heh, Elder Gu, you must be dreaming. I got dibs on her and now you want to take her away from me? Elder Yang glared at the interloper. His greedy look warned him, stand the hell down before you hurt yourself. But Elder Gu merely huffed. Then came another voice. You two are in your own little world, I see, to think she is yours. Heh, shameless old Wang, you got your share last year and didn't see me fighting over them, did you? Now that I've finally found a good seed, you want to take it? Elder Yang would simply not have it. No, 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 Elder Gu chimed in. Yeah, you always get the most disciples and still come back for more? Go back to your cozy home and stay out of our business. Haha. Now you both are coming for me? No chance. I get to have so many disciples because you two throw them away. No matter what, she must be mine. Elder Wang roared. The two bickered, and as the oldies piled up, the fighting escalated. The competition was now in chaos, shouting and fighting everywhere. The disciples were speechless. The same elders and venerables who they saw having stone faces and fighting for respect were now clobbering each other, all for one tiny little disciple. They were stunned and also envious of Yuer. She's just some outer disciple, and just because of a measly win she's got everyone's attention and they are fighting over her. While Yu Ling was overflowing with joy for her sister, Xie Wuyue sneered at their tantrums and watched Venerable Shur. This guy must be thinking the girl has been nurtured with great care all these years, a pawn to quell the inner disciples. And he must be planning to throw her into the inner sect, and take her away from my control just so she loses her worth. Funny though, she's not mine but Zhuofan's. Take her for all I care, Zhuofan is bound to rear another one in the labor office. This sect leader had no worry whatsoever. Xie Weiwei grinned inside, praising Zhuofan's whammy. Even he would have needed more time to get an outer disciple to this level, to say nothing about catching the eyes of everyone with every movement of his as a sect leader. Having Zhuofan as his proxy was so much better, while Xie Weiwei's non-committal attitude threw Venerable Shi for a loop. Isn't she his pawn? Or does he have other plans? Venerable Shi probed. Silence. Venerables, elders, have you no shame exhibiting such disgrace before the entire sect? The oldies froze mid-swing, looking at Xie Weiwei and Venerable Shi with shy gazes and red faces. They got too caught up in getting the girl that they let themselves go and devolved into bickering like old hags. But as the matter stood, who will get the doll and her dowry? Venerable Shi spoke with a cold smile. Sect leader, everyone shows interest in taking her as a disciple, but it is hard to decide. From how I see it, with Humair dead, second elder has lost a dear disciple, and taking Yuer would mend his broken heart. You rotten no good vile Shermanshan. You want to hog all the goodies by yourself. Every elder and venerable screamed at him. In their minds at least Venerable Shi had the second elder in his bag, and by proxy he would get all the demonic treasures and an elite candidate who Humair died, but he would get 3 demonic treasures. It's totally worth it. The hell with mending hearts? Look how perverted the second elder is. Do you see any hurt on his face? The whole sect knew just how close he was to his female disciples. Since one died, he'd just get another. Take the mending and stuff it where the sun doesn't shine. All elders and venerables were outraged, moving from Venerable Shi to second elder. The latter was even roaming his creepy eyes over Yuer's body, even nodding now and then. Yuling panicked. Any female disciple knew of the second elder's tastes. Yuling feared her sister would fall to his poison and would end up the same way as her predecessor. You're wrong, Venerable Shi. A middle-aged man in white smiled. In the inner sect competition, there are no grudges. Once you step on the ring, emotions have no place, with life and death settled on a whim. We are elders and venerables, accustomed to our disciples' fate, so how could we care for them? Second elder's perverted tastes have been going on for centuries now, yet it just so happened that today he has changed? Venerable Shi, letting him have this doll is an insult to the rest of us. Venerable Shi squinted. Second elder glared. The man glossed over and chuckled. While my disciple, Yuling, is her sister. By having them work together, their future will be limitless, achieving glory in the Double Dragon Gathering. Venerable Bai, are you fighting me over a disciple? Second elder's hawk eyes stared back. Venerable Bai waved his hand. Can you even fight? I only care about the sect's future and speak facts. The sisters will help each other and thereby the sect. Why you, second elder was fuming. Venerable Shi said. Venerable Bai, you're a venerable yet you would fight an elder. He, do you mean I can't? Venerable Shi, aren't you always doing it? This was a naked taunt. Everyone saw a thin elderly in a plain robe poking fun at Venerable Shi. Venerable Shi snorted. Venerable Qi, you too? Of course, it is my responsibility to look out for our disciples' future. Venerable Qi stuck out his chest and annoyed the hell out of Venerable Shi. Xie Weiwei snickered inside. Venerable Qi and Venerable Bai are third and fourth in line of authority. The two together can hold Venerable Shi back. They all had no care for each other, until now. Since Venerable Shi and Grand Elder allied, they considered everyone beneath them, taking what they pleased and setting up their disciples into becoming elites while eliminating all obstacles and in turn getting on these two venerables' bad side. Their disciples, Kuei Lang and Yuling, were demoted to laborers. But with Kuei who always picking fights with their other disciples and killing them, they knew the two were after their share. Left with no other choice, they used their two disciples' credit in the labor office to get them back. Venerable Shi had always pushed back Venerable Qi and Venerable Bai, but now at last, someone stood up to these greedy bastards. Xie Weiwei grinned. enough squabbling. I know everyone wants a talent to nurture, but did you ever stop to think to ask the person herself? Wasting a talent like her is damaging to the sect. Everyone nodded and turned to Yue, eager to be her master. Yue said, as an inner disciple, you have to have a master's guidance. Speak now, who will be your guide? Yue roamed her eyes over the oldies and their hypocritical smiles, lost on who to pick. Yuling was giving her obvious hints from the side. Pick Venerable Bai. If you don't want to die, go back to the labor office. An aged voice entered her ear. 3 months of training should have let you know that the strong never ask for anything. Yue shuddered and turned to the blade in her hand, and her eyes lit up. With a bow she said, Sect leader, please send me back to the labor office. Say what? Everyone was slack-jawed. Chapter 558, Versatile. Chapter 558, Versatile. What did she say? The disciples in the audience watched the girl with dumb looks. What did I just hear? She wants to go to the labor office on purpose? Yes, I heard that too. Another said, stumped. All the same, it was a reaction quite popular today, even among elders and venerables. A place that was designated as the sect's dump, where disciples were thrown to spend the rest of their days crying, just got a volunteer. But how could a lady with glorious prospects conceive such an idea? Yue said, Yue, are you certain? Once you are there, your future is over. It is a pit from which you can never crawl out of. Yuling kept dropping more and more hints to do the opposite. I was forced to go there, but you shouldn't. Why do you insist on wasting yourself away? But Yue's decision was final, Sect leader. I want to get to the labor office. As it is your choice, I won't force you. You shall henceforth be a laborer. Now go. Yue waved coldly. Venerable Sure was uneasy. Sect leader, how can we do this to a talent? She wants the labor office rather than helping the sect. What would you have me do, beg? Humph, forcing her will only make it worse. Yue flicked his sleeve. From now on, the girl is a laborer, so don't let me see you going after her still. If you've got so much time to waste, you'd better use it preparing for the competition 3 months from now. It's a chance for your disciples and yourselves. Don't squander it. Yue left with a hard face, annoyed that Yue refused his goodwill and selected the labor office. Alas, no one noticed the flicker of a smile tracing his face just before leaving. Venerable Sure scowled, his eyes wandering like his thoughts. Something's definitely off about all of this, but what? The sect leader threw her into that dump too fast. Was it just to abandon her, or something else? Venerable Sure turned to a frowning Grand Elder. He read the old man's eyes. The thoughts running through his head were the same. Gui, who come? Grand Elder left Gui, who rushed to follow him. Venerable Sure called Lu Su over and left to ponder as well. Soon, all the oldies left, leaving Yue on the ring with one last look of pity. A shame for those baubles. With no excuse, I can't take them. Or just stealing them will make others attack me. Doing all the work just to have another profit from it was such a waste. As such, the elders came to a silent accord, only to move when another got them first. They all left with snickers and evil glints in their eyes. Only Kuei Lang, Yuling and her sister remained. Fool, why are you going to that damn place? I myself barely got out. Yuling grumbled, but more than anything she was worried. Yue giggled. I believe that I'll become far stronger there. Didn't you see me kill Humayer? I took revenge. The two jerked with surprise. Yeah, which elder or venerable could make someone be reborn and grow so much in 3 months? It might be far better to stand by his side than to end up an elite. The two were getting fired up, and Kuei Lang recalled his dear son. The 3 lurking shadows were disappointed. Never mind the 3 demonic treasures. Just the fact that her yuan qi is so cold and icy makes her a gem. She needs a bit of guidance, and she'll stand atop even elites. One said. The others nodded, before shaking their heads. A pity Wu sent her to be a laborer. The elites lost a good seed. Just what is up with Wiyue? He should use her, not throw her away. That black wind blade is worlds above the other girl's charm whammy. She'd have taken us far in the double dragon gathering. Let's drop it. Wiyue may be rash but not one to ignore the bigger picture, or he wouldn't have become the sect leader. I've got a feeling that things are more complicated than they seem. I'll ask him about the girl and that kid. No matter what, the kid must become an elite. The others nodded and the shadows flew away. Meanwhile, Zhuofan had just gotten back to the labor office, the rundown house stirring in him. Wistfulness, ha ha ha, I must be really born to work under others. Zhuofan chuckled, walking towards the door and shouting, Is Elder Yuan around? I'm back. The door creaked open and Elder Yuan's humble face stuck out. Steward Zhua, weren't you supposed to never come out of the cemetery? Those two made me stay there for a month, but I took 3. Can't I come out even now? Zhuofan grinned. Elder Yuan rolled his eyes. Please, those two are practically worshipping you. I may be of low cultivation, but I still got a good pair of eyes on these old bones. Since you're stronger and those two are back in the inner sect, that makes you the big cheese in here. Oh no, I marched to my own beat. Elder Yuan, you're the one in charge. It's best if you handle the labor office. But if you meet some hard times, I can just lend a hand. Ha ha ha. Zhuofan raised an eyebrow. Elder Yuan nodded. Why thank you, Steward Zhua, for becoming my rock. Now I can finally get the respect this old body deserves. Elder Yuan stuck out his chest and put on a feisty look. But with his short stature, it looked funny. Elder Yuan scratched his head and chuckled along. Zhuofan, the two acted like age-old friends, like they've never been closer. It was a first for Zhuofan. Oh, he had had his fair share of loyal men, Li Jingtian and the power couple, but that was based on rank, while the difference in mentality made sure that no common ground was established, nothing to talk about. While with Elder Yuan, he'd never felt freer. He had gained from their talks as well. So while the old man was weak, he had a broad heart, earning Zhuofan's respect to him. Elder Yuan was his equal. Steward Zhua, I heard you trained Yuer for 3 months in order to deal with Humayer. Elder Yuan added. Zhuofan nodded. Yes, and there should be no problems. Why are you so carefree while they fight? Shouldn't you be watching the fight? Elder Yuan asked. Zhuofan smiled. Why, when her win is obvious. I'll be honest, I've put a lot of effort into that girl. Zhuofan pointed and a blue flame appeared. Elder Yuan's eyes widened. Wush. I'm an alchemist and in my travels I found this flame. Zhuofan spilled its secrets. This flame protects the soul and can also harm it. I used it to refine the soul bead replica, Azure Bead. With the flames inside it, Humayer's soul attacks will bite her instead. The azure flame inside isn't strong but enough. Elder Yuan blinked at the azure flame in shock. The flame didn't seem much in its tame form, but he felt its raw and destructive power. Steward Zhua, you can make a 9th grade spiritual weapon? Ha ha ha, that's not all. I gave her an armor piece and a weapon as well, the 8th grade demonic treasure, dragon locking armor, and the 8th grade dark moon blade. So you tell me if she'll win or not. Failing even now will prove that she had to die. Zhuofan raised a smug eyebrow, though Elder Yuan was too lost for words at the sheer wealth he had dished out, and here I thought he already had them, when in fact he actually made them. A 9th grade tool refiner and a 10th grade alchemist, and to say nothing about his outrageous cultivation. Chapter 559, Disciple. Chapter 559, Disciple. Elder Yuan was confused for a long time, almost forgetting about the real topic. Steward Zhua, wouldn't it be better for you to handle Humayer? Why would you let a young girl do it? Ha ha ha, Elder Yuan, you should know the structure of the sect better than me. Zhuofan had a vague smile, but a wise gaze. To get to someone, you go through his men first. Humayer is a nobody, hardly matters if she's out of the picture. I could have killed her with a snap, but let her go just for today. When a grand inner disciple falls at the hands of an outer disciple, the whole sect will be shocked, and the oldies behind her will be floored. But this is only the beginning. If you think I'll just stop at smacking them around, you'd be dead wrong. In regards to fighting authority as an underdog, like they say, first time is a coincidence, second time's a happenstance, but the third and fourth times now you fools are damn useless. Elder Yuan frowned, then cried, "Why you want to flip the sect system?" Correct, the inner sect is a gangrene simply because the elites are chosen from there so that each elder and venerable gets a share of resources. But how can they share resources when no inner disciple is worthy of being elite? Zhuofan snickered. Now do you understand why I didn't do it myself? My success will only be short-lived. They just make me an executive of the inner sect and make my efforts moot. They'll even say everything I did was for the inner sect, and then I'll start becoming like them, looking for disciples to get a share of resources. Xie Wuyue surely does not want that to happen. Elder Yuan panicked. Steward Zhua, you can't say sect leader's name like that. You need to address him by his title. Why, we're all friends here. Besides, Xie Wuyue needs me too much to throw it all away just over some technicality. Zhuofan dissed him. Elder Yuan understood this kid was sharp and lofty beyond his years. He knew when to be humble, when to step back, and when to charge with impunity. Elder Yuan rubbed his beard. Is this why you came to the labor office? I think so. Xie Wuyue has put me outside the political plays of the sect so I don't get absorbed into the conflict and could break the endless chain of greed. Labor office is the bottom of the food chain which those oldies can't reach. While thinking that brat will be easy to control here and hard to mess with me. Zhuofan whispered. Elder Yuan shook his head. Wuyue was known for his short temper, but this fearless kid had no respect for him whatsoever. I bet he'd be so angry, he'd stomp the sect flat. But just like Zhuofan said, it's your fault for needing him. Elder Yuan laughed inside. By your words, does that mean you're going to teach more people? But who will come besides that miss? That miss was forced by circumstances, with her broken meridians, to get the heaven-reaching pill from you. Who on earth would risk death to mess with those average inner disciples? There will be at least one more disciple after today. Zhuofan grinned. They could never conceive it earlier because of uncertainty and doubt in my skills. But you are acting as proof. At least Kuei Lang's kid will be sure to come knocking. Who doesn't want to get stronger anyway? Who doesn't like a shortcut to the inner sect or to become an elite? And when Kuei Gang wins, then even more will come, and soon, the elites won't be coming from the inner sect, but from Steward Zhua's direct teachings. Elder Yuan finished, his eyes glinting more and more at the ineffable Zhuofan. That's the same as sacking the inner sect. But the resource upkeep will be huge. Bang. Zhuofan cut him off by slapping his chest with a cocky grin. No problem, I can cover it all. SSS. Gasping, Elder Yuan was floored by how cocksure Zhuofan was. Where did this money bag come from? He's got on him as much as the demon scheming sect has gained over 1,000 years? Elder Yuan pondered. What's the point of petty tricks when you have so much dough? Elder Yuan frowned. Steward Zhua, the plan is solid, but have you ever considered the outcome of these challenges? What else could happen? They win, they gain fame, become inner disciples and soon elites, the envy of everyone. Zhuofan raised an eyebrow. Elder Yuan held his gaze. You really think so? Zhuofan frowned, then shook his head. They say old men are wise for a reason. Yes, starting with Yue, none of them will have an easy time in the inner sect. They'll be ostracized because of the fact that they beat an inner disciple as an outer disciple. Next would be tutelage, with every oldie greedy for the trinkets on them, no matter who they pick. Even with Venerable, by having Yue's sister, he'd use this excuse to get his hands on them. If she chose another oldie, she'd have it even worse. Venerable by won't help her, and the second elder will hate her guts, all while being looked on with greed by the rest. I've worried a lot about her future. Zhuofan sighed. Elder Yuan nodded. Steward Zhuo's heart is like a mirror, piercing every veil. That means all these kids will suffer at your hand. It is the lesser evil for the greater good. Zhuofan shrugged. Small sacrifices net you greater rewards. Soldiers are there to be used and thrown away. This time I used a single one to test the waters, knowing it will never return. Besides, no pawn can ever move backwards. All they can do is advance and advance. Once they're in the enemy's camp, in the inner sect, their fate is in their hands. I merely gave them the push they needed, and it's up to Xiaoyue to keep the momentum going and wrest back control of the inner sect. Elder Yuan's brow shook with sorrow. Pawns, but after all they are the people you've nurtured yourself. Even considering them as tools to discard, it's still such a huge loss. Steward Zhuo, have you thought about calling them back? Never. Zhuofan shook his head. Elder Yuan was startled. Why, they'll be your arms and legs here, in the labor office. And when you become an executive elder, they'll make your faction, bringing better results. I don't need them. Zhuofan's tone was final. I don't need someone's trash. And I'm only here because Xiaoyue gave me a 9th grade pill, per our agreement. Once I hold my end and do what he wants, I'm gone. And besides, which disciple will throw away their bright future as an inner disciple for this dump? Elder Yuan, we're all men with experience, our gaze on the horizon. But they are just too green. They do not understand the meaning of blessing in disguise. Exploiting them, then recalling after they've won will only make them hate me to the bone. Zhuofan sighed, a smile of contempt for the ignorant world around him. Elder Yuan sighed with him. That's why you don't care about the sect, and aren't thrilled to make it thrive like Wuyue. Ha ha ha, it's just a phase for you. Elder Yuan was frustrated. Such a talent yet no care for the sect was the sect's loss. Steward Zhuo, are you here? A shout came. Zhuofan grinned. See, Kuei Lang's already here. Yuer's win was free advertising. I bet he even brought his kid. Yeah, ha ha ha. Elder Yuan's eyes flashed. The two walked out to meet 4 people outside, the sisters and the father and son, but Zhuofan had yet to put on the smartass smug smile as Yuer and Kuei Gang kneeled and kowtowed 3 times. Please take us in, master. Zhuofan was shocked. Chapter 560, Sore Spot. Chapter 560, Sore Spot. What's going on? Zhuofan was floored. The 2 youngsters' eyes steeled, and they cupped their hands. Please, master, take us in. Ha ha ha, congratulations, Steward Zhuo. You have new disciples. Elder Yuan laughed. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling joined him without shame. Like he'd just have to agree no matter what. Face twitching, Zhuofan's mind ran a mile a minute and he snapped. Congrats, my foot. I'm still just a disciple myself. If you want a master, go to those old-timers. Especially you. Zhuofan pointed at Yuer. Don't you dare tell me that you lost. You should be replacing that fox instead as an inner disciple. What have you come running back for? Yuer pondered, then looked him in the eye. Take me in. Take my foot. All those old-timers await your bow to bring you a bright future. What the hell are you doing back in this dump, for me? I'm a disciple, god damn it. Zhuofan sighed. Yuer was stubborn. Being under your care will make me stronger than them. Strong my ass. I'm just a laborer who can't do anything right. Zhuofan flared his nose. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang chimed in. Steward Zhuo, it's not the place that's famous but the one residing in it. I've never seen anyone make a disciple so strong in just 3 months. I believe Yuer can only live up to her potential under you. My brat shall be in your care as well. I hope he'll soon catch up to his senior sister. Ha ha ha. Kuei Lang pushed his son over with no shame. Zhuofan was brooding, then shrugged. You better not complain about it later. There's nothing in the labor office. I have no resources or pills to give them either. How far do you think they'll go? Ha ha ha. With Steward Zhuo being the moneybags, a few disciples will barely strain his pockets. Giving the kids to him is the best decision. Elder Yuan butted in. Look at Yuer's gear that got all those elders and venerables vying for her. All of it came from Steward Zhua. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling's eyes sparkled rather than be pals with a money bag. Taking him as godfather was way better. And Master wasn't that far off either. With the brats under Zhuofan, they believed not even the labor office could thwart their progress. They'd have done the same, but since they already had a master, they couldn't. Zhuofan's wealth had that kind of effect on people. Zhuofan eyed Elder Yuan and sighed. Elder Yuan, could you please not cramp my style? Ha ha ha, but I'm not, only helping you set the stage. Your disciples will come back running and lift you up. Why let them go to waste? As for being a disciple, you shouldn't nitpick, since teaching isn't dependent on age. Elder Yuan chuckled. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang bobbed their heads. Zhuofan's face was hard. I can never accept disciples, not now, not ever, and Kuei gang. If you want to be like Yuer, I can teach you for 3 months, but that's it. Take it or leave it. Zhuofan entered the house. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang froze. What's with Steward Zhua? Isn't it just some disciples? Steward Zhua, Yuer refused to be an inner disciple and willingly returned to your side. You'll condemn her by refusing. Yu Ling implored, but all that came was a cold voice. That's her choice, nothing to do with me. Yu Ling looked at the rest shaking their heads, and everyone placed their last hopes on Elder Yuan. The old man pondered before turning serious. Wait here, I will settle this. This is about your honor and the Sect's design. They were puzzled while looking at Zhuofan's door. Isn't it just about us? Elder Yuan entered the house. Here they could speak at leisure. At Zhuofan's glum look, Elder Yuan smiled. Steward Zhua, are you touchy? As if. Then a sore spot. Even less. Zhuofan denied. Elder Yuan smiled. Oh yes, a sore spot. I said I don't have a sore spot. Zhuofan was annoyed. Why won't you take them then, yet show such dislike and revulsion? I'm a maverick. Zhuofan cut him off. Elder Yuan smiled. Ha ha ha, I've lived for so long and seen so many things, so you can't fool me. You'd be indifferent or ignore them if it's just being a maverick, not show such a strong hate for it. Something must gnaw at you. Talk to me, maybe I can help. Zhuofan glanced at the short elder and sighed. Elder Yuan, did a disciple ever betray you? He, Steward Zhua, you're such a kidder. Look at me, I'm but a frail old laborer. Who'd want me as their master? Why, did a disciple betray you? Elder Yuan probed, nodding. Zhuofan sighed. He truly surpassed his master. Back then, we were close as kin, yet to steal from me he colluded with others and wounded me deeply. I vowed to never have a disciple. Zhuofan's eyes were filled with fear and bloodthirst. Oh, did you kill him? Got revenge? Elder Yuan said the issue would have been more or less settled if he did. His silence was answer enough. That this point bothered him more and more. Zhuofan shook his head in hatred. He is too far away. But one day, I will find him and pulverize him for his betrayal. Elder Yuan nodded, then said, all the more reason for you to take in the kids. Of. Zhuofan stared back. Elder Yuan, are you pouring salt on my wounds? You know my pain and still insist. No, I only have your best at heart when I say this. Elder Yuan continued, since your disciple caused you pain, it will only end with disciples. If you shirk away, you'll never overcome the pain, while keeping it bottled in, and one day it will become a trauma. It will only harm you instead. By teaching honorable disciples, it might soothe your anguish. As demonic cultivators, we go against the world order, braving any dangers and obstacles. This is one of them. Bear through it to relish its fruit. Ignoring it and avoiding the issue will hold you back from reaching the best you can be, no matter how high you go. Because your heart is incomplete. Elder Yuan pointed at his chest. Zhuofan felt his heart become broader, and freeing his Yuan Qi into flowing faster, he had grown once more in his heart and mind. Elder Yuan, I would have taken you as my master if not for your low cultivation. Zhuofan grinned. Elder Yuan gave a warm nod. With you as my disciple, my life has found meaning. They both laughed, finding such a close friend. They both relished the experience. Zhuofan and Elder Yuan walked out and saw the two still kneeling. He agreed, and Kuei Lang and Yu Ling were overjoyed. The kid's future was going to be brighter than ever. Like, where are the experts, only to find they already beat them all. Chapter 561, Valued. Chapter 561, Valued. Are you there, Wu Yue? In the sect leader's hall, Xie Wu Yue was sitting on his throne with a jade slip in hand detailing the distribution of resources when a vague baritone entered the hall. Xie Wu Yue sighed. Fiend Yang, what on earth brought you here? He, to talk, of course. A red-faced and bulging belly middle-aged man walked in. On one side was a glum beanpole, and on the other was a refined man with a fan. Xie Wu Yue nodded at them. For all three fiends of hell to come, it must be serious. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Am I not important enough? The fat man scowled. Xie Wu Yue said, watch your tongue. You're speaking to the sect leader. Oh please, weren't you fiends Xie in our little gang of 4? Stop playing around, we're all brothers here. Go mess with bystanders if you're so keen. Fiend Yang flicked his sleeve. Xie Wu Yue turned glum, staring at him and roaring, guards, throw these bastards out. Yes, sir. Many executives came in, but at the sight of the three, they shrank and looked at Xie Wu Yue conflicted. Ugh, venerable sirs. The guy with the fan smiled. Withdraw, we brothers are only joking. Yes, Fiend Gui, sir. The executives scampered off with a bow. In any other situation, these elders would have given their lives for sect leader, but these three were part of sect leader's clique, sharing life and death together, brothers having braved the double dragon gathering and were now venerables guiding elites. They all liked to take light of the situation and crack jokes. Attacking the three would not only irk these three but sect leader as well. I was only faking anger. The ones to suffer would be themselves, so they'd learned to stay clear. Fiend Gui had no trouble getting them to leave, and not even Xie Wu Yue objected. It was obviously just a scare tactic. Once the 4 were left alone, the beanpole went right to it. Wu Yue, we want to know about someone, the same laborer that interfered with the inner sect competition. Who is he? That sect leader. After emphasizing his status out of reflex, Xie Wu Yue sighed. The brat is someone I brought from outside. Zhuofan is an outstanding chap. Stop stating the obvious. I'm not here for some confirmation. Fiend Yang rolled his eyes. Why did you put him in the labor office? He's no waste, or did he incur some punishment? Xie Wu Yue smiled. What punishment, since he's been there from the start? Why, you foolish sect leader. You're ruining everything. Dumping such a genius into labor? My heart can't take it. Fiend Yang held his chest and bewailed. I warn you, Xie Wu Yue, we're lacking elites now more than ever. So get him out. The other two nodded. Xie Wu Yue replied with a snicker. Have you forgotten that anyone thrown in the labor office will have their future cut off? On coming out, he'll become an elder or venerable at most, but never an elite. Xie Wu Yue, why you damn sect leader. You just wasted a damn good seed. What about the double dragon gathering? Who is going to go if not him? Are we going to disgrace ourselves before the 9 sects again? Fiend Yang pointed at him. Fiend Gui stared hard but smiled. Wu Yue, you're the most calculative among us, your mind broader, and that's also why you're sitting on that throne. You didn't just do this out of foolishness, did you? Heh, I brought him in and am still waiting for him to bring me rewards. You think I wanted him to be a laborer? I planned on making him my disciple and use this status to make him an elite. That's better. Fiend Yang butted in excitedly. Under the wise and brilliant sect leader's tutelage, such genius is bound to shine and break out of that accursed rule. But what's he still doing there then? Someone opposed it. Xie Wu Yue sighed. Fiend Yang squinted. Someone was against such a genius? Who? Let me have a go at him. It's those oldies, right? How many times did those old-timers ruin our sect? How many talents did they kill? Talk, who was it? An elder or a venerable? High venerable. Siawua said glum ugh. Fiend Yang recoiled and said, how can it be him? High venerable is the greatest genius, giving his all for the sect and prizing honor above all else. Why would he deny such a talent from coming into the sect? Fiend Gui frowned. The other two were just as stunned. Siawua was blunt. No need to guess. High Venerable must have his reasons. And he told me just a few days back that he has a new plan for the kid to never leave the labor office. You might as well forget about recruiting the brat as an elite. What? They all cried out. High Venerable hates him that much? Why? Siawua smiled. No hatred, and from the message he sent, High Venerable sounded quite happy. And then there's his last sentence, strength is everywhere. He doesn't want an elite, and you three venerables can't guide him either. The three were stunned. They were past winners of the Double Dragon Gathering, ethereal stage experts and teachers of elites, yet couldn't even guide a profound heaven stage cultivator? Well, he was a freak, but still, hold up, then who's supposed to guide him? High Venerable. The three echoed. Siawua grinned. Meanwhile, in a secluded room, Grand Elder was sitting cross-legged. The person in front of him was sitting as well, but his muscles were tense and he was soaked in sweat. It was Gui who, opening his eyes, Grand Elder shook his head. Let it go, it's been 3 days now. It's not easy collecting yourself so quickly. Who? Gui who eased a breath and felt like he had just gone through a hard battle. How do you feel? Are you at peace? Grand Elder asked. Gui who frowned and shook his head. Grand Elder sighed. It's not easy reaching such a level. You need to take it slow. Master, why are you so insistent that I meditate, yet never let me practice my arts? I've never met my match in the inner sect but outside. Gui who recalled the Deja fan swiped at him and tensed up again. Grand Elder could relate. Gui who, you and him are worlds apart. You can't reach him, especially in mentality and heart. Mind, heart. Gui who was perplexed. Grand Elder nodded. Yes, the heart. Gui who, you've trained the underworld fiend to its peak, and no one in the inner sect can hold a candle to you, but over these days I have seen your heart and seen it lacking. I did not have a reason to mind it until the event on the ring. I realized just how far behind you are from him. If you were to correlate with cultivation, it would place him in the ethereal stage, and you in the bone-tempering stage. It's just not something you can surmount. Say what? Gui who shook all over, still puzzled. Just what is heart? All he could comprehend was that he was behind, leagues behind. Chapter 562. The Heart Supreme. Chapter 562. The Heart Supreme. Gui who, what makes an expert great? Grand Elder asked. Gui who pondered for a while before his eyes flashed with bloodthirst, looking down on the world, with no one to match him. Weak. Grand Elder snorted. Experience is the father of wisdom. The same applies to experts. The higher one's cultivation, the closer he touches upon the world's values, until he reaches the heart supreme, standing in perfect harmony with it. But don't think for a second that such a man is a pushover. They keep to themselves most of the time, and when they act, the whole world shudders, calamity strikes and death spreads. What is perceived as a weakness is in fact hidden inside their hearts. A single intent can cower the living. This is what a true expert is. Gui who looked hard at Grand Elder, perplexed. Grand Elder continued, despite his confusion, what did you think of the kid before you fought? Gui who sighed and shook his head. Yes, he hid his sharpness, hiding the scope of his heart. While you have always been on a murderous rampage, hardly controlling your power. This simple point defines the gap between you. Grand Elder sighed, pointing at his heart. The heart in plain terms means one's window into the world's truth, the Tao. To you it might not mean much now, but the farther you go, the more you'll put a price on it. Every breakthrough comes with a fundamental change. Radiant stages discerning field, ethereal stages soul form are prime examples. But do you know how these skills came to be? Gue, who shook his head, Grand Elder replied, from one's insights. As you have never experienced it, you have never grasped the meaning of self-discipline. Or you'd have agreed with me that the heart is the root of all power, be it yuan qi, spiritual energy or soul. When two experts have the same cultivation, the difference in their insights sets them worlds apart. The farther you go, the more obvious it becomes. It's said, one could bring about an apocalypse just with intent alone. It don't matter what yuan qi or soul one has. Gue, whose heart shuddered by cultivating all this time, the fiendish aura around him remained, but that was due to the neglect of heart. He might have had a quick rise, but in the long run it would hardly be of any help. Treading a path for the weak, master, does that mean the elders and venerables have a high mentality? Gue, who asked Grand Elder, sighed. The demonic path is focused on selfishness, with few and far in between able to curb their desires and temper the demons within to gain insight into the demonic path. Even among elites and venerables. But this path will only stray them farther from the true expert. Do you recall how Venerable sure got hurt when going after the kid when he bumped into High Venerable? Ha ha ha, they're both in the ethereal stage, yet one strike from High Venerable can kill him? Why, because of the heart. High Venerable puts a price on understanding the world, and that makes him the strongest in the sect. It is the sole reason he got out of the labor office and became our best expert. Rumor has it that High Venerable cultivated to radiant stage in just 100 years, despite his poor talent. Yet now no one can reach him, all because of his insights into Tao. It makes one wonder, maybe he'd have gone beyond the ethereal stage with just a little bit better talent. A true pity. Grand Elder lamented, but Gue, who was speechless. Nothing could have prepared him for how important one's heart was. It could even turn a simple man into the strongest expert while he fell utterly short, and the farther he went, it only exacerbated the difference. Grand Elder said, Gue, who, I hoped for you to become an elite and fight in the Double Dragon gathering. But your future is of greater importance. Curb your desires and focus on the heart. Master. Gue, whose heart jumped, but isn't it too late? Ha ha ha, it's never too late. Grand Elder laughed. Unlike cultivation, tempering your heart can be done anytime. Some even waste half their lives on one insight. Look at Impermanence 5, aren't they the prime example of following High Venerable's footsteps? Their souls form a rarely seen domain, but with a frail heart it would be weak. The sole reason for their strength, renowned through the western lands, is their hearts, just below High Venerable. Gue, whose eyes shook and he nodded. But then he hesitated. Master, just what is that kid's level then? Much higher than mine. Grand Elder sighed. He is a rarity. Not only his power is supreme, but so is his heart. The simple way he struck gave me the same feeling High Venerable did. Say what? Gue, who was stunned. Zhuofan not only was stronger but had a heart on the same level as High Venerable. Grand Elder was wistful. Gue, who, sect leader, has brought in an exceptional expert. Not one of the disciples can hold a candle to him. Please keep this in mind the next time you see him and show restraint. Sect leader must have brought him to deal with us elders and venerables. Sigh, sect leader is finally on the move. Gue, whose heart was a mess. Zhuofan, just a profound heaven disciple, yet was at the rank of elders and venerables. I see it now, why he never cared about me when attacking. I am nothing. Gue, who shook his head in bitterness. He had never been ignored by his opponents, never suffered such a setback in his life. Moving on, Zhuofan brought his new pupils to the array in the cemetery, and he just stood there carefree. Then Kuei Lang and Yu Ling popped before him with a bow. Steward Zhua, it's finished. Good, let's begin. Fan gestured them to the side and made a sign as he chanted, "May the blood tide swallow the world, may disaster envelop the universe." Fan extended a finger hum. The others watched as a shimmering door appeared, letting out wails and screams like no other as it opened. Kuei Gang tensed up. "Master, shall I go in? You're in the mood for joking? Why else did your dad and Yu Ling bring the remaining corpses over and I have set up the blood slaughter array? It's for you and blood annihilation training. Now will you shy away after all we've done for you?" Fan retorted. Kuei Gang gulped, the shrieks grating on his nerves. "Master, isn't it dangerous? How else are you supposed to cultivate? How else do you think you gained 3 layers so fast? She jumped right in and yet you can't even compare to a girl?" Fan snickered. Yuer tugged his sleeve. "Master, you pushed me." Fan's face twitched, glaring back. "Keep your nonsense to yourself. Are you trying to make me look bad?" Shrinking back, Yuer fell silent and Kuei Gang chuckled inside. Then Kuei Lang appeared, hoisted him by the collar and threw him in. "You call yourself a man without going through a bit of danger? Is this my son, cowering before a bit of pain?" "Ah, Dad, you're killing me." Howls came from the blood slaughter array. Kuei Lang cast Fan a worried look. After all, Fan shrugged. "Don't look at me. You push them onto me. This is my teaching style, pushing the disciples to the brink of death. I've set up this array based on his peak strength. All he has to do to survive is advance, or die." "Die?" Kuei Lang was bug-eyed. Fan nodded. "Yep, do you regret it? Well, tough luck, it's too late now. If my disciples can't take it, they just have to lie down forever." Kuei Lang was panicking now. He thought it was just a bit of pain when in fact it was a matter of life and death. Fan is doing things to the extreme even when it comes to his disciples. Fan made another sign and another door appeared with a rumble. It revealed endless mist with no preamble. He threw Yuer in. Yu Ling froze and the next thing she heard was her sister's cries. "Steward Zhu." Yu Ling tensed. Fan said coldly, "Just a bewildering array. It's good for the heart. Earlier I only gave her a crash course, but as my disciples, I need to think of their future and have their hearts in mind. Every 2 hours, her entire life will flash before her eyes, all the baggage included. She'll only get out when she understands it." Yu Ling nodded, next hearing Yuer's laughter 1 second, then crying the next. "She has had a rough life." Chapter 563. Reopening of the Inner Sect Competition. Chapter 563. Reopening of the Inner Sect Competition. Months fell off the calendar and the time for the Inner Sect competition was nigh. Again the oldies were back in their designated seats, looking over the designated stage with Xie Wuyue sitting in his designated throne stewing in the same old boredom, seeing nothing had changed. The same disciples, we just like before, with one exception. 2 disciples were missing. Humair got the short end of the stick, making her an obvious absentee, yet what raised eyebrows was Guei Hu. There was no sight of him. Bang. The 5th match in the 3rd ring goes to Kuei Lang. The 4th match in 6th ring goes to Yu Ling. The 6th match in the 2nd ring goes to Lu Su. From within the sounds of punching, the judge chimed in with the result. Venerable Shur held his beard, eyeing Grand Elder. "What's up with him? Why isn't Guei Hu here? Is he giving up on his spot?" Grand Elder had never been calmer. Even Xie Wuyue grew suspicious of his attitude. Did Fan scare him too much last time and he held his disciple back? While the rest were even more suspicious. With Guei Hu being the main seed to become elite, why the hell would Grand Elder suddenly hold him back? Despite all the suspicions going around, the competition ended and the elite spots were taken. Besides the obvious 3 seen last time, the other 2 were just average disciples. In the 2nd layer of Radiant stage, Xie Wuyue's mood sank. "Humph, this is even worse than last time." Venerable Shur remained silent with a mocking grin. "Who told you to butt in last time? Now you have 1 less elite candidate. Hee, you got what you deserved, sect leader." The other oldies lamented as well. Those two softies were no elite material, but what choice did they have? It wasn't like they made Gui who brutalize every disciple he met last time and left them with crumbs in this one. The two were so weak. Even together they couldn't harm Kuei Lang's sect leader. The 5 elites have been decided. Venerable Shi smiled. Xiaoyu clenched his fists and waited. A loud voice came right on cue. Wait, I want to challenge. A tall and sturdy youth flew in, paying his respects. Sect leader, I, Kuei Gang, am an outer sect disciple requesting a challenge. Xiaoyu nodded after a long look. His mood turned for the better. Ha ha ha, this is the greatest attraction of the inner sect competition. Venerable Shi was seething again. Sect leader? Yep. Venerable Shi gave back a taunting eyebrow. Going above your station is commendable, Kuei Gang, although you'll be walking between life and death. Sect leader, it's because I do not care about the danger that I must challenge. Kuei Gang bowed with confidence. Kuei Lang nodded in pride. With his son being in the Radiant stage now, meant he would have an easier time than Yuer, who was only at peak Profound Heaven stage at the time of her challenge. As for the gap in strength, Steward Zhua made up for it in spades, and trinkets Xiaoyu praised. Zhua Fan did it again, bringing forth another expert in 3 months, and said, Kuei Gang, who is your target? I want to challenge senior brother Lu Su. Kuei Gang cupped his hands, his eyes fixed on his target. Lu Su mocked. A fresh Radiant stage pup wants to take me on? Humph, do you think I'm who mayor and would fall like nothing? 5 layers difference isn't just for show, especially now that I've come prepared. Lu Su's hand shone brightly and a scarlet brush appeared. His body did the same and a spiritual armor outfitted him. The elders and venerables cried out. 8th grade demonic treasure, heaven leading brush, and 7th grade demonic treasure, flowing light cloud armor? Xiaoyu's brow shook, eyeing Venerable Shi. You went all out, I see. Even giving him your prized possessions. Venerable Shi chuckled. Sect leader, you're too kind. What can one do when the competition has devolved into a test of wealth and not skill? Even with my meager coffers, I at least have enough to give my disciple a head start. Xiaoyu squinted and turned to Kuei Gang. With Lu Su geared up, his power was through the roof. If Kuei Gang just copied Yuer and took out the 3 baubles from last time, he'd still come up short. It's cut and dry. Kuei Lang frowned with worry for once. He didn't think for a second that Venerable Shi would dump demonic treasures on his disciple, and wondered if Zhua Fan's plan for this challenge would succeed. While Kuei Gang was at ease, his eyes serious. Nice items, for offense and defense. I'll just have to give it my all then. Kuei Gang held a vial and the thick intoxicating smell spread. Many oldies cried, 9th grade pill, savage blood pill. Since I train in blood annihilation technique, the savage blood pill can boost my blood flow dozens of times. Even in the 1st layer, this pill alone will give me the power of a 3rd layer. Kuei Gang swallowed it. A bloody aura surrounded him, and only increased as time went on. The stench of blood gave a nauseating feeling. Lu Su was outraged. Rotten punk, do you have a death wish? Pushing your blood to flow so fast will end with you blowing up. Why, thank you for your concern. But this time will be different, since I took the 10th grade pill, heaven-reaching pill beforehand. Kuei Gang grinned as his body shuddered. The elders and venerables were filled with envy. A heaven-reaching pill? We didn't get one yet. A snot-nosed brat got to enjoy such blessings? Lu Su felt, to his shock, how the gap was bridged inch by inch. All that remained between them were 2 layers, but his confidence resurged. Placed on the demonic treasures, short-lived as it was, courtesy of Kuei Gang's next ace, 5 glittering and equally blinding lights. As the light ebbed, everyone stared slack-jawed, their eyes popping out. Kuei Gang was armored to the teeth in 4 9th grade demonic treasures, in conformity to his style. In fact, exuding a bloody glow. 9th grade demonic treasure, blood shadow cloud striders. Kuei Gang showed off the new shoes with a grin. They were practically made for my cultivation method. Even senior brother Lu Su will have trouble tracking my movements, ha ha ha. Let's not forget about the vaulting blood demon armor. And blood sea banner. World-piercing claw. The motif for Kuei Gang's set was that of skulls. His right arm held the bloody banner, his left the red claw, all demonic treasures of great power. Lu Su's mind left him. Venerable Shurs got stuck, Xiaoyue's bogged down, and the oldies had none to speak of. The whole of Demon's scheming sect was watching as their minds flew away. Chapter 564 Another Luo Clan. Chapter 564 Another Luo Clan. For crying out loud, are all outer disciples moneybags now, coming to throw their wealth around in the inner sect? That Missy was bad enough, now this kid's showing off his bling too? Then again, old guys like us don't have anything to show. Don't you see, Venerable sure had to dig his coffers to barely do it, yet still failed. The inner sect competition should be a test of skills and knowledge, not to strut in with one more gold chain. How vulgar, how malignant. By the way, child, mind letting one of these bags of bones take you in? And the trinkets, of course. All oldies looked on with bloodshot eyes at the glittering Kuei gang and smacked their lips. Venerable sure felt like cursing. Did sect leader gear these challengers? This wealth is too much even for him. Even if some outer disciples comes geared, it will be at most like last time. But to think there's someone who can top her. Sect leader, aren't your coffers too deep? Who among us can take out 4 9th-grade demonic treasures, and freaking in tune with the wielder at that? He has to have taken it from the sect. Xiaoyue was glum, Venerable sure was suspicious. Talk, sect leader, are you corrupted? Xiaoyue felt that his look earned him at least a couple of slaps. I'm the sect leader here, giving my all for the sect, and you accuse me of embezzling? When in fact it's you, old guys, trying to scheme the sect of resources in the most legit manner. Yet you come question me? Get lost. But at the sight of those dashing demonic treasures, he fell silent. Even he'd come to the same conclusion if he were in their shoes. Where else would an outer disciple get all this stuff? When not even a sect leader could take out so many Zhuofan, what the hell did you do the last 2 years to get so rich? You're making me envious of you. No wonder High Venerable came up with that plan. Humph, only a moneybags like you can pull this off. Xiaoyue smiled and sighed, still envious of Zhuofan. Just some secular steward, and yet wealthier than a sect leader. Kuei Lang was shuddering with excitement and was on the verge of tears. That's why the 4 scheming demons stick with Steward Zhuo even back in the sect. He's too rich, throwing out 4 9th-grade demonic treasures like nothing. No one in the sect can top him, not even elites get such treatment. Getting him as master is the best thing that could happen to anyone. You'd get tons of resources and heaps of treasures and pills. Being elite? That's for the poor. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling looked excited at the kids being under Zhuofan. Senior brother Lu Su, your move. Kuei Gang grinned, raising the blood sea banner, and the sky took a bloody hue, with the air taking a heavy scent. While the world-piercing claw on his left arm left 5 bloody trails in the air as it tore the space, staring at the 4 demonic treasures, Lu Su looked at his own too and his face twitched, finding himself lacking by a mile. Senior brother Lu Su, by your leave. Kuei Gang taunted. Lu Su's lips shook, his eyes went red and he snapped. By your sister? Goddamn it, push over. How the hell am I supposed to fight with you all geared up? I freaking quit. I'm out. Crack. Lu Su threw away his 8th-grade demonic treasure like trash and stomped away in anger. Venerable sure was about to call him back, but no words came out. What's the point when it's obvious there is no chance of winning? Glancing at the brush on the ring, Venerable sure had a bitter smile. I scraped the bottom of the barrel to get it, yet it looks so dull now. Venerable sure shook his head and flicked his hand for the brush to come to him. He mocked, Sect's leader's wealth is beyond measure. You're truly our leader in name and in reality. Don't look at me, I've got nothing to do with this. Siewiwa squinted in anger, then said to Kuei Gang, since Lu Su has abstained, the win goes to Kuei Gang and so does the elite spot. You may now choose an elder or venerable as a master and become an elite. Kid, over here. No, pick me, I'm totally devoted to cultivating. The same thing happened to Yuer 3 months ago, and this was just a repeat performance. Every elder and venerable outdid themselves in trying to get the gaudy disciple. But Kuei Gang had already made his decision, ignoring the squabbling fools and bowing. Sect leader, I already have a master in the labor office. Please send me there as well to stay by his side. A laborer takes on outer disciples. Everyone was speechless, looking at each other with dumb looks. Is that guy worthy? Siewiwa smiled and nodded. All right, since you have such a filial heart, then I shall let you go to your master. And please tell your dear master that these items are quite nice, and ask him to make me a set as well. Siewiwa got up and swaggered off to his hall, but his words only stoked the flames as the oldies and the disciples around were bug-eyed. What the hell? A laborer gave all these trinkets to an outer disciple? And even the sect leader asked for some, not ordered it. That shows his respect. What kind of monster is hiding in the lowest rug of our sect? And why haven't we heard of him? Venerable Shur's eyes widened, while Grand Elder was calm having seen it coming. The 2 outer disciple challengers all went back to the labor office. That place reeked of something for sure. Sect leader hid his man in such a low-key area to develop. So why expose him now? Has everything been set in motion? Grand Elder watched Sect leader leave with a frown. Venerable Shur pondered, Sect leader, about the elite spots. Defeated again and again by mere outer disciples, and you think they are worthy to become our elites? Siewiwa mocked. Venerable Shur frowned. Does that mean the competition is postponed again? Postponed. Siewiwa stated. Do you think they can achieve some great enlightenment in a few months? No, I think the inner sect has lost its rights to be nurtured. Venerable Shur gripped his beard in shock. You mean to tell me the outer sect is more suited to be nurtured? Venerable Shur had suspicions now. Siewiwa was gone and left this old man with a headache about his real plan. Kuei Gang strutted off among the people's glares, showing off his bling as he left. While the oldies had greed in their eyes, the disciples were envious and longing to be in his shoes. You're telling me, that punk Siewiwa had you give me a message in front of everyone? Back at the cemetery, Zhuofan asked Kuei Gang. The kid nodded. Yes, master, sect leader did tell me. And probed, Master, why did it sound like sect leader is so close to you? No matter how close we are, that doesn't mean he had to make it public. Zhuofan muttered. I just had to do it once or twice more and I'd get the perfect excuse to tidy up the inner sect. But he announced my existence, so now I've got the attention of all those elders and venerables. But why? That's exactly why. A voice came from behind Zhuofan. Didn't you set up a Luo clan outside? Then I ask you to raise another Luo clan here, in the labor office. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.